Dougie. Hey, hey, hey. Rhonda Kim, how are you? What's up, Go Live Vegas? Should probably share this out. Didn't even think to do that. Teach me how to Dougie. Oh, yeah, I'll share this out. Hey. All right, I'm going to go here, then I'm going to go here. Then I'm going to click here. Then click there. And now I'm going to share. Spam, get spam myself. Gotta get spammed. You ain't cool unless you get spammed. I don't know how to share this stuff, man. I don't know how to share my own lives. Who would have thought, right? I don't know what that noise was, but it sounded wonderful. Hey, Gold Bubba, Vicky Mers, hey, Scott Barzilla, what's up? What is up? What is up? What is up? Yellow. Thank you, Joy. Gold Buddha is a joy. Good to know. Just got a little music in the background while I like send things and like set things up and stuff, you know, like totally. Just trying to like send like invites to stuff for people. Hold on a second here. Where do I? Oh, you gotta love the joy of live. Little Enya and Dougie together. That's a pretty good song. You guys don't like it probably, but you know, it's fine. You'll be all right. You'll be all right. You will slowly get over it. Probably like the song, and then you'll be like, hey, how do I get a hold of that song? And I'll be like, let me just send it to you because it is really good. I am human. I do like to listen to music. Grew up listening to rap until I was like 15 years old. I didn't even know there was other music besides rap music. So, let's see here. Thanks, Rosie. Rosie the Riveter. Turn it down a little bit. I'm still preparing. I'm still prepping. Thank you for loving my vibe. I appreciate that. Thoughts of the day will be, I look forward to my thoughts of the day too. I haven't formulated any thoughts yet. You know, it's funny. Somebody keeps giving me grief about, I have a scar on my face right here where it grows a little bit of hair, a little weird hairline. I got attacked by like a dog when I was a kid. And it like chewed my face up. Like I was like 104 stitches. Can't really shave it completely off, which totally sucks. Anyway, short story long, someone keeps going, oh, it's that thing on your face. I'm like, it's called a scar, bro. Yeah, anyway. Tis what it is. Is the music loud? Wow, it's not loud over here at all. Wow. Who would have thought? Music's off. There you go. I can't tell if music's loud or not. What's up with that? It was like really low on my end. Wait, what's perfect? I can't tell. Was the music too loud? Or was it not too loud? It was loud? Okay, good. I turned it off. Glad to have figured that out. I like when people tell me something's wrong. Speak up, because I don't know. You couldn't even hear me. Oh my God. Well, lucky for you, I wasn't probably saying anything important anyway. Thank you for subscribing. That thing is really cool. I like when it pops up. I don't think it will ever get old. I don't know what that bear is, but I like it. Oh, really? TikTok compresses the audio? Ghetto. That's such a ghetto move. All right. I got to look at both chats because I have two chats open. I'd love to congeal them at some point, but it doesn't really work that way, the platforms I use. Denmark. Huge fan of Denmark. Glad to have you. Steen Kramer. Awesome, man. Montreal. Love it. Huge fan. I've never been to Montreal, I don't think. I've even been to Newfoundland for a few weeks, 3 weeks, I think it was. And I've even been to Newfie, and I haven't been to Montreal. Maybe I did like a connecting flight there, but I don't think it counts. Recently found your videos, followed. Thank you so much. That means a lot. I very much appreciate it. Canada represent. I agree. People are jerks. I agree. People are sometimes jerks. The good news is I am impervious to insults of my appearance. I grew up with 3 brothers, so good luck with trying to insult me. It just doesn't affect me anymore. That is whatever that cake was. That was pretty cool. Public utility man. I don't know what that means, but okay. I couldn't hear you. Okay, well, good afternoon. Good afternoon. I loved your videos about mind control. You mean, which one? Let's think about which one did I do about just mind? Oh, there's a lot. I've done a lot of videos, long and short, about mind control. But I think you're thinking of the thought stopping one, or I can't tell. Yeah, I believe Montreal is a great place. This is really cold there, isn't it? I don't even know where Montreal is. Actually, I have to look it up real quick. Isn't that East Coast? I think Montreal is the East Coast. Yeah, it's East Coast. That's right. I didn't even look it up. I think I just remember it's East Coast. East Coast. I am originally from the East Coast of the United States, so I know the East Coast well. You should go on the Necessary Conversation. I agree. I'm a big fan of that show. The problem with Bob, though, is, even though he's probably not on the show anymore and might not ever come back, is that Bob is an adult child. It's great family dynamics. Not really, jokingly, of course. The kids are actually semi-healthy. I only say that because I come from a pretty messed up family too. So like I recognize what they belittle. The toxic, narcissistic family dynamic that you guys see on there is like, that's not fake. It's not for the show. That's real. And they like laugh it off. Like it's no big deal, but it's obviously you're just like, whoa, what's wrong with these people? And it's like, either you go, wow, I know exactly how that feels. Or you go, oh, it's so bad. Either way, I'm sure you're like, if you recognize it, you're like, oh my God. And it causes you a little anxiety. And if you don't recognize it, good on you. You had a decent family growing up. That means congratulations. Quebec is further east. Oh yeah. Okay. I don't know Canada as well. Oh, one of my favorite people ever, Health and Happiness, is on. What's up? If you don't know Health and Happiness, got to follow her on TikTok. She's good people. Happy Memorial Day weekend, right? From Seattle, Washington. What's up? I spent a few weeks in Seattle in 2022. A friend of mine was like, hey, come to this family house we have. And I'm like, I don't really want to go to Seattle. And I didn't know it was like a house right on Puget Sound, like literally right on Puget Sound. I was like, should have told me this was like right on the water. How would I come here earlier? Amazing place. I sat on the deck. It rained like maybe one day out of 10 days or 12 days I was there. Amazing. I would wake up. I couldn't wait to get back on deck and just watch the ships going by and stuff. It was pretty awesome. Happy weekend. It's not a weekend for me, health and happiness. I'm never really not working. So I'm in Oregon. That's awesome. I don't think I've ever been to Oregon. Ever. I cannot remember ever being in Oregon once. It must be beautiful though. Oh, look at this. What's up? Hey, what's up, man? Thank you so much. Pillars Mystery Unboxing. Appreciate that. It's pretty. I believe it's pretty. You know what? I heard Bend, Oregon's amazing. I know a girl that lives in Bend and she just talks it up like it's the cat's meow or like the bee's knees. But it's cold. I don't really, Oklahoma liberal. Whoo, that's a rarity. Welcome aboard, Maggie. I feel bad. Must be tough. Surrounded by people who sold their critical thinking for comfort. Oh my God. I was a kid in Scientology at Toronto Org back in the 70s and 80s. I didn't even know they had Scientology back then. I think I saw commercials when I was a kid. Also, it was like, the Scientology, some kind of book that was always being promoted on the internet. I was always like, or not on the internet, sorry, on TV. And I was always like, I wish I could remember the name of the book, but L. Ron Hubbard or something like that. So Georgia's here. I'm looking at this here. I'm over in Facebook and YouTube now. Linda, hoping this is going to be a political discussion, not a geography one. Hey, Linda, pump the brakes. We're just catching up here. Just signed in. Everything's going to be all right. The bee's knees is saying a lot, is it? Oh my God. Yep. It's the next greatest thing since sliced bread. Dianetics. That's it. That's the book. I remember that really well. Dianetics. Yes. That was the book I remember just over and over again being advertised. I'm like, I really got to read that book someday. It worked, but I never read the book. So, plus I wouldn't really fall for that stuff anyway. Why does Facebook have going on? Do you get a lot of MAGA? Yes. Do I get a lot? That's where every MAGA is on Facebook. I believe like that's where all the misinformation is actually coming from too. I think most of everybody thinks it's Fox News, and I don't think it's not. Of course it's Fox News too. But I think most people get their their news from memes. And they're in like Facebook groups or Facebook pages that are not real people or real like channels, and they call themselves like, I can't remember what they call, like News Nation or Nation News First or, you know, USA News Central or some crazy name. And you're like, oh, that sounds official. And it has like 1 million, hey, thank you. It has 1 million like subscribers or followers on it. And you're like, you're like reading it, and all of everything they're posting is just fake. And you're just like, how do people fall for this? It's the same people that like fall for the magazine right before you go to check out at the grocery store, and there's like star where like, oh, this lady had an alien baby or some crazy Elvis is still alive. He's not aged a day or something crazy like that. So here from Southeast Wisconsin, sorry about that. That must really suck. A very red rural area. I used to live when I was a really young kid in Buffalo City, Wisconsin. So I used to live like right on the Mississippi River when I was really, really young. So I know that area. Well, at least I know that part I just told you, where it's right on the border of Winona. Saw Elvis in a dollar store. I'm sure you did. Especially if you're in Vegas, you see a lot of those Elvises. There's like an Elvis, I believe there's like an Elvis convention where all these like Elvis impersonators like show up to. Talk about weird. Yeah, I've heard that already. Somebody using my name, selling crypto. Yeah. Well, If it's not a confirmed profile, it's not me. This is my only one. I don't have like another account. Can't stop people from pretending to be me on the internet. Trust me, I'd love to do that. MAGAs are for the most gullible demographic. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm making a video right now about unintelligence and propaganda. And it's funny because people always say, oh, everybody can fall for propaganda. And it's just not true. I hate people who, I don't hate people, but it's a statement, guys. I don't hate anybody. But when people use the statement, oh, everybody can fall for propaganda. No, you're never going to convince me that 2 + 2 = 5. Unless I don't know 2 + 2 doesn't equal 5. If I was never taught 2 + 2 doesn't equal 5 and it equals 4, I would never know. And yes, you can trick me because I am not intelligent or I wasn't given the tools to critically think. That is why people fall for propaganda. They don't know the answer. And if you repeat a false answer enough, knowing you don't know the answer, they just start to think it's true. That's how propaganda works. And I don't think smart people this is why authoritarian leaders go after intelligent people. They go after schools, they go after books, they go after education, they go after experts. All these things they want to wipe out because those are the people that will not just fall into line. Because you can't get tricked by propaganda. You can't say something you can't like say a lie and then have like a smart person go, oh yeah, I totally agree with that. You're going to be like, no, I don't think so. Yeah, you're wrong. 2 + 2 is never going to equal 5 in my book. And they go, okay, we got to get rid of all the people who think 2 + 2 = 4 so we can say 2 + 2 = 5 now. That's how propaganda works. If you don't know the answer, it's a lot easier to trick you. If you already know the answer, you cannot trick that person into thinking a certain way unless they're under duress. And it needs to be like physical duress. They have to like hurt you until you say it. And then eventually, once they stop hurting you and you kind of like leave that situation, you can be like, yeah, I already knew 2 + 2 = 4, but I needed to say that to survive. Kind of like the quote about medieval, how they made people like confess. I don't know what I can say on TikTok. So they used to make the quote was, I think it was, I can't remember the exact words, but it's like, I fear of people on the rack because anybody on the rack, some version of hurting them, they would say anything to get out of being harmed. So you can't ever trust the stuff they say while they're being harmed. And that's how, you can force propaganda, but it just never really works. It never really truly works. Yep. If you know, you know. All right. Lack of capacity to think critically makes people susceptible to propaganda. 100%. If you're never given the tools and you have a really bad ego problem and you're insecure, you're going to accept and try to like, oh, well, I already knew that. And then you start sharing that information and thinking that you know what you're talking about. So those people get taught by someone who they think is cool or smart or whatever, and they just start repeating it to sound smart instead of looking it up. So they start sounding smart to other people who are also ignorant about something. And then eventually, all those people now who aren't that smart or not even intelligence, just they didn't get the tools to like think critically, they start propagating that message out. And now all of a sudden, everybody in the small town they live in all believe this because Jimmy is just such a smart guy. Jimmy didn't know. Oh, Cole's here. What's up, Cole? You guys don't know Cole. Follow him. Great dude, great creator. I like his videos a lot. You gotta check him out. All right. Always consider the source. Yep. But yeah, MBAs, MS, or PhDs. Yeah. Good luck trying to trick them. It'll never happen. If you have an MBA, is that Trump water you're drinking? Of course it is. No, it's like the cheapest probably water in the world. Maybe it is. Take a look. It's just drinking water, I think. I have 5,000 to not call me a creator, not deserving it. Yes, you are, Cole. How dare you? How dare you? Of course you're a creator, dude. So I found Cole's content as I was creating content. I first started creating content all them years ago. Just kidding. I just started like 100 and something days ago, but it's so good. Water's not good for me. Yeah, plastic water, I agree. At one point, 7 months ago, I was actually trying to invent, which I invented, but it's not that I didn't try to invent it. What's glitching today? What is the glitchy part? Health and happiness. The video is glitchy? Or the chat is glitchy? Oh, there's tons of comments. You need to update your, I think you need to update your thing or something. Anyway, so I want something that comes in a water bottle that's made so cheaply that you can either buy or plug in to a regular plastic water bottle and filter out all the microplastics as you drink it. And there's these like little micro plastic sheaths that are like, they take out like 0.01 microns, and it works really well, but it's hard to drink out of because it doesn't have a lot of flow. So I couldn't invent it fast enough to make it useful for myself. Cake Guy, what's up, Cake Guy? I remember you, dude. I remember it all. I remember it all. Look at that spaceship. Really, Rosie? Thank you for whatever that was. It was so cool, that spaceship. Let's see what we got over here on the Facebook side. They thought Trump was a legit businessman. Yeah, right. You could easily be a legit business person. Mr. DJ, what's up? You can easily be a legit business person if you inherit $400 million. It's pretty easy to say I'm a businessman. And if you blow through the $400 million and lose all that money, which by the way, he did by the night, like 1990. I don't even know how he recovered. I think he started taking money from other countries, but we'll never know. We will never know until a long time from now, probably a decade from now. All right. I'm in rural MAGA land, and I'm just hoping I don't see a deer in a red hat. Oh, God. Yeah, it's not a good thing. Hi, Scott from New Bedford, Mass. New Bedford. Dude, I know New Bedford. I know it well, actually. I spent a lot of time in Nantucket, and a girl I went to college undergrad with was a New Bedford girl. Good person. You guys, she really shoots it straight. I'm a big fan of like direct communication like that. I miss it. West Coast people aren't very direct. New Bedford's the second Nantucket was the biggest whaling place, and then it moved to New Bedford, and that they were known for like whaling and fishing. Big deal back in the day. They probably have a really cool. I haven't really been there though. Crazy, cool place though. I'm going to put a claim in for 1.7. Yeah, good luck with that, DJ. I don't think anybody on the left's gonna get any of that money. I wear a custom-made tee that reads, yeah, well, I can't read that. Can't read that out loud, Scott, but that sounds like a good time. You admit to growing up and believing Trump was a good businessman. Well, here's the deal. Like in the 80s and 90s and 2000s, maybe you could have, thank you very much, retiring to the Philippines. I'm pretty jealous. The Philippines is a beautiful place. You might have, I believed it too. Think about the movies he was in and stuff. Like you got to remember everything you see and heard about Trump in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. It's all basically what they call social proof. And when you have like social proof of like being in movies, being in TV shows, being in like WWE wrestling, you start to believe it because like these people are indirectly vouching for this guy. Linda Maria, welcome Germany. Are you from Germany, Linda Maria? I admit growing up, yep. Went to two, okay, thanks. Much less media back then, exactly. You're welcome, Rhonda Kim. JB, what's up? Another great creator, JB. This guy is awesome. Like some of his videos, man, they're so relatable. You can't not follow JB. JB needs to come up and hang out. JB's good people, man. Cole and JB, we've got like some solid creators in here today. Yeah, my pleasure, JB, man. You're good peeps. Where did Cole go, man? Cole's got to come up here and hang out. I think he's scared. He's not scared. He's good people. Many legit businessmen got there by ruthless dealing with vendors and horrible treatment of employees. Yeah, that's true. That doesn't, I don't know. It depends. It depends on how you, what you think of what ruthless is, because I've been in the startup and tech world basically my entire life. And my first company I worked at was a fintech company, and we were doing like consumer lead generation for, what was it? It was consumer lending for people to buy houses and get their houses refied and stuff like that back in the day. So think about that. It was I don't know if you guys know what the term subprime is, but we were the biggest lead generation company in the United States, helping people with like getting, yeah. And the company sold for, $400 million or something like that. I was a product manager there. Let's go. Cake Guy Cameron. I have to admit, Cake Guy Cameron's got a good name. You cannot forget that name. It's very unique. Can't forget it. If it was just Cameron, it's a possibility I would have forgotten it. But as soon as I think of Cake Guy, I think Cake Boss, and then I think, oh yeah, dude, that's the pastry chef. I remember that cat. Will the MAGA call ever go away? I'm going to say go away. Yes. It will fall apart when he's not around because no one can control it besides him. I don't think. Do you guys hear about the Turning Point controversy? You guys will probably get a kick out of it. At least 50%, if not like 80% of Turning Point clubs at schools were fake. They weren't even real. So Turning Point said they had like 3,300 things across the United States. It's more like 1,000. So they basically lied about how many they had. Probably more than that, actually. I'm being conservative by the number. But yeah, isn't that crazy? Like more than half of their chapters were fake. Kids were taught to tell friends to go and start a club, and they'd get a little bit of money for it. Then they would go start another one, and they'd get a little bit of money every time they did it. It was like a little bit of a pyramid scheme. So create this one at this school and this one at that school. Yeah, all they do is lie. And then they project that onto you. So when you actually disagree and say, hey, I think all your stuff was a lie. What are you talking about? You're just fake news. So they can't. They're always, everything they do is projection. So if they say something, you know they're going to do it, or they're already doing it. It's crazy how like obvious that is too. You'd think they'd be like, wait, well, we can't just do this anymore. Like, so obvious. Not them. Yeah, it is awesome to hear, right? All those turning point things. Like, think about what it took in the first place, too. Like, even if there was that many, it's just doesn't. There's no way there's like 3,000 of these clubs with, consistent people meeting every day. Kids don't even do college consistently, let alone a club at college. This doesn't make any. It just doesn't jive with me. There's a massive expose on them. Yeah, I think I saw it. It was by the Un-F America thing. I wish we would bring back the fairness doctrine. That would be awesome. Social media wouldn't exist though. Like social media would go away overnight. So fairness doctrine would affect that as well. I think, again, you guys are going to hate that I say this maybe, but I think free speech can be used for intolerant people can use free speech to protect their intolerant free speech, which is horrible, hateful rhetoric. And I think it's super dangerous to not have laws around speech. And I'm all for free speech. You have no idea how much I like free speech, but man, when you got a government and people, horrible, hateful people using free speech against you because you're a very tolerant person and you're a tolerant nation, tolerant nations can be destroyed by free speech because there's no laws around hate speech. And Germany, I think Germany now have learned such a big lesson from World War II that they have their speech laws and you cannot say and do things and say horrible, hateful things. It's really easy to not say horrible, hateful things on the internet or anywhere, on video, anywhere. It's just easy to not be hateful. I don't know. Take that for what it is, but I don't think it would be a bad thing to have like speech laws that clearly define what you cannot say. I don't know. I think having no rules is hard. Yeah, I'm not, again, I saw the cake guy, Cameron. I am not very tolerant either. And that's the only reason why I even started making content is that I'm just like, wait a minute, it cannot be tolerant anymore. So I have to speak their language to them. And that's why I make the videos I make. I speak I have a little condescension on purpose because that's what they respect. They respect people who can say those things back to them. And that's the only way I think they'll ever listen. They're not going to listen to you they're not going to listen to you by being nice to them. You think about being nice to a bully. You think that ever worked? No. Bullies only get respect for you by you pushing back with their language, not with yours. All right, Cameron. Well, dude, I have to call you Cake Guy Cameron now. It's too late, dude. You got to own that, man. It's your username. Oh, there's so many worse names. Trust me, dude. I'll try to call you Cameron, man. I'll do my best, but it's really hard. It's such a unique name. I like it. Good branding. Why do you think Jack Dorsey stepped away from Twitter? I mean, it's still losing money. Yeah. Well, he sold it. He didn't step away from Twitter. The company is owned by Elon Musk. So if I was Jack Dorsey, I would have, I don't know. I think he just stopped caring about people. And he was just more focused. I just want to do this. And so he did that. Germany has freedom of speech, but not unlimited. I agree. I think that's good. Call me crazy, but we've gotten to a point where someone's weaponized free speech. And I know exactly why, by the way. I know exactly why your laws came into play. Trust me. And I think that's good. I actually think speech is free speech. You still can say things, but when you say certain things, just like in America, by the way, let's be honest, not all speech is free in America at all. You can't yell fire in a crowded theater. You can't do those things. And that's not free speech. You get in trouble for that. And if you incite violence, you get in trouble for that. So why don't we have these rules on the books? It's vague almost on purpose, because they can just decide to persecute you whenever they feel like it, rather than actually having laws to like show you, hey, don't say these things. If you say these things, you're going to get in trouble. If you don't say these things that are bad, you're good. It's like a very black and white direction. Yeah, Rosie, I know. Like, I don't know. I don't think that's really hard to do. Don't say that stuff. Exactly, Cameron. Like, I don't see why you need to say that. I don't know. Like, even if you're raised with it, you still know better, dude. No person doesn't know better. Come on now. Your content is insightful. I've played you in the background while a few of my MAGA friends have been over. They always pause to listen. I think you're getting through. Oh, nice. That makes me feel good. I appreciate that. Yeah, I can tell you, man, it's hard to get through to them. Everybody's like, oh, you're so mean in your videos. I'm like, I don't think I'm very mean in my videos. I think I'm just very direct. And I don't think a lot of people like directness, which it's weird. I'm a very direct person. I'm just going to say what everybody else is thinking, because we don't have the luxury of not saying things anymore. We don't have the luxury of sitting around going, oh man, I really want to tell this person what I think. No, tell them what you think. That's how we stop people breaking the social contract of being awful people. You are very knowledgeable and to the facts. Yes, I thank you very much, Mindy. I appreciate that. I try to be. Direct is the best way to be. It is. For black and white thinkers, it's great. For me, it's great, because then you don't have any ambiguity of like how I think, right? Like you don't have to guess what I'm thinking about you. I'm telling you, hey, that is not a nice thing to say. Did you do it on purpose? People don't like that. It's crazy, but I kind of, I'm a fan of it. Your style is great. Thank you. I mean, your style of critique. Yes, I know what you mean. Obviously, my style is not great. I wear athleisure clothes all the time. Funny part is the Trump supporters. This is the funny part. They're like, you need to get yourself a new shirt. All you do is wear the same shirt. I'm like, did you ever think that I could have like one? You think I only have one of the same shirt? Or do you think I could have like 25 of the same things? And they could not wrap their head around having multiple shirts the same color. And I was just like in shock. Like, really? You don't have like more than one white t-shirt? No, there's no reading the lines between me. Get what you get here. We didn't clean up after the Civil War properly. Germany did. Well, Germany had no choice. We decimated everything in Germany, which is why we dominated the car manufacturing for 30, 40 years after that. They had to spool up rebuild everything. So of course we dominated, because Germany and Japan, the two biggest manufacturers besides the United States, were just completely destroyed. And then when they built it back up, who's winning now, right? Japan and Germany are smoking the United States with better automobiles and better, basically everything. Yeah, they have 45 MAGA hats and t-shirts, but they don't have exactly. But they're all red. I mentioned that none of them are red. They're like, I have a red one, I have a white one. They don't have like object permanence. It's like a child. You know what I mean? Like, somebody said something to me in my comments today that really rung true. Religion does this. Again, no shame on religion. If you guys like religion, cool by me. I don't really care. But religion wants to keep you in a childlike state because it benefits them. And that made a lot of sense, because the moment you start to learn too much, you stop believing. Thank you for backing up your posts with studies and facts. Yeah, I mean, I can't even imagine just making a content without actually having facts to back it up with. Like, of course, I'm going to share the research. You can see really everything in Germany except denying calling for violence at riots. Yeah, exactly. I totally think it's awesome that you could I don't know. The AFD that's a problem for me too. I think that I just can't believe people don't see who those people are. I don't know why Germany doesn't ban the AFD. I think they marked them down as a terrorist organization or something. I think they banned them, didn't they not? Germany learned from their mistakes. They did. They didn't have a choice though, too, right? World War One wasn't good for them, and then in between World War One and World War Two, it was really bad for them, and that's where the, you know, the dude came in and was like, I have a simple answer to all of your complex problems. Let's get angry. Linda Maria, only those who feel you're describing them are likely bothered. Yes. It's always people. It's always people. The AfD is the fascist party in Germany, far right party in Germany. I agree. They're all triggered by things that they see in themselves. That's why they get so upset. Which is weird because it's like if I see something in somebody, if I see something in one of the videos, I get reflective and I go, oh my God, that's me. How do I fix that in myself? They go, rah, not true. Children, that's what they are. If they deny, then history repeats. If, here's the thing also, when people stay in cults, and that's what the MAGA is, some of my research, like I said, I was reading it last week and it was like, the reason with the sunk cost of shame, again, that's my term, you're not going to be able to look that up without finding it from me probably, but it's basically sunk cost fallacy, but with shame. And, the sunk cost of shame is a really fickle thing. It's like they stay in because at some moment, any moment in the future could be the moment that proves me to be right. So they stay in sometimes because if they give up, they're wrong for sure. But if they don't give up and they stay and they double, triple, quadruple down, then maybe at one point in the future, I'm going to be right and I can tell everybody I told you so. Just imagine the ego it takes you to want to tell people you told them so. They're willing to lose $100 so that you lose $10. That's nuts to me. My uncle found gold, turned it in, and became a judge. Wow. Turned it in. That'd be a tough one. I don't know if I would turn it in. MAGA are immature people. Yes, they are. So that's some research I've been doing. There's 25, you guys are going to think this is crazy numbers, but 25% of the population of the United States has a 90 IQ or less. A 90. So just so you know, IQs doesn't teach you everything, by the way. It just means how good you are at problem solving, and there are some intellectual part of it, but EQ and IQ are not the same. Thanks, Mal B. I appreciate that. Think about that. People in the United States, 25% of them have a 90. So average IQ is about 100. So on a good day, you guys are probably 105 with coffee, 110. And on the average day, an average person is just 100 IQ. Yeah, I thought it felt low too, Rosie. But it is. Shockingly, statistically speaking, it's 100. And 25% have 90. And you guys don't understand, 10 points is a big number. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a big swing. And think, if you do to 25%, that's like 80 million Americans have a 90 IQ or lower. So they can't critically think. They have very cognitively can't critically think. There's a lot of things that they're handicapped on. And yeah, it's sad. So we take for granted that we're semi-intelligent, and EQ is huge. Of course, if you have no empathy and you can't empathize, there were times in my life where when I was younger, I was taught empathy is bad. Empathy is toxic. Empathy is a weakness. And then I grew up into like, when I turned like 19, I was like, no, actually, me having feelings is pretty good. I kind of like it. Um, so have more empathy. The more empathy we have, the better society we have. Think about where we could be right now if we all work together, truly were cared about the future, truly cared about the environment, truly cared about these things that we all clearly don't care about. Um, we could be in such a good place. I always think of the shows and movies I saw when I was a kid, like Star Trek-ish kind of future. Sounds crazy probably, but where everybody's like wearing similar uniforms, like no one's really out of place, and everybody's just like being like super intellectual. I'm a fan of that. I would think we should all have that kind of a future. There's a lot of people. I mean, dude, Elon Musk says empathy is bad. Problem is, he is one of the most struck by empathy people there is. Just listen to his interviews from like the 2010s, and he'll be like, it is awful that I live in these mansions and all I hear for the sound in my mansion is the only noise in there is my footsteps I hear. And he's like, it's super lonely by myself. Well, you're feeling sorry for yourself, so you have some kind of empathy. Yeah, there's a lot of people with low IQs, unfortunately. And again, IQ is not everything, guys, right? People can be really good people with low IQs. I've met plenty of people that were not very smart, but were super nice people. So I can't say IQ is everything. I'm just saying like it explains a lot. And it also explains a lot the high narcissistic traits that people have. America, in a way, capitalism in general is a narcissistic method of business, right? Method of society. Everybody's out to get rich, to live a luxurious lifestyle like social media shows. So it kind of like it incentivizes you to be narcissistic. It's never really, I don't know. Star Trek is like military bases, fabulous socialists under. Yeah. That's the thing. There was no real authoritarianship in Star Trek. It really is, the show is utopian, like for the greater good of people. So, and again, Star Trek is not perfect. It's just a TV show as an example, guys. I didn't mean it for real, for real. Hey, how's it going? Kent, it's a pleasure to have you. I appreciate that. Yeah, Barbara, they have no empathy because that's all they've been shown is empathy is bad. They're bullies. These people peaked in high school at best. They picked on people who were smart. Like, I remember, like I said, I went to a few different high schools, and one of the high schools I went to was very anti-intellectual. And I was like, what is this? Like the dumber you are, the more they celebrate you, the more you goof off, the more you're celebrated, the more you are the bully. Everybody's like, oh, you're hilarious. And then I went to another high school and it was like, if you weren't smart, you were an outlier and people thought you were a weirdo. And I was like, this is the kind of place I need to be. I need to up my game, not be surrounded by people who don't care about their futures. They care about what's happening at next period at school, but they don't care about next year at school. They don't even think that far. What type of schools were the docs and cheerleaders were the ones leading? What that means? Where the jocks, yeah. So, I mean, I guess I was a jockish type of person though too, because I was like, I played sports, but I wasn't. I was a very, I don't know how to explain it, but I saw a lot of bullying happen and I would stop it. I'd be like, yo, stop. My senior year was literally me saving kids from getting bullied by other people all the time. Kind of don't know why I did it. I just didn't like the unfair people punching down on younger kids, and I just yeah, whatever. So yeah, the thing is, like, everybody wants people to think far ahead, and these people can't even think to, like, people are like, oh, why aren't you planning a year and 2 years, 3 years in advance? These people can't even plan for Friday night. You're asking them to, like, plan for like a year or two. They don't even think that big. Small towns always have schools that put you into a funnel of taking the jobs of the people in that small town when you graduate. Yep. I've lived in a small town before for sure. Phew, it's not a lot happening in a small town. They do not think about the future because they're not taught to think about the future. Unfortunately. Sometimes the military is the only way out of some of these small towns. They think. I mean, obviously they could all go to college if they really wanted to. Everything's available. They could easily go. They just have to choose to pursue it. Even if their family doesn't have the money, they could take out student loans. We all did. Or at least I did. I know other people could take out student loans. So I didn't qualify for financial aid mostly. Let's see here. They care about themselves. Big ego, F empathy. No, it's the thing is, like, they don't really care about themselves. They just have what they've been modeled in their life, what they've been rewarded with is they are rewarded. They think, and I've spoken to a lot of these guys and girls, if I don't F them over, they're going to F me over eventually. So might as well F them over first. And it's like, that is not how you live life, yo. Yeah, TV shows did have moral lessons back in the day. But a lot of these people watched those shows, yo. Like, they watched G.I. Joe and stuff. Clearly it didn't take. So they don't have ambition, but you don't know why they don't have ambition. It was not celebrated. I told you, like, there's a high school I went to. Your ambition was picked on, actively picked on. If you were a smart kid, you got targeted and they made fun of you and got picked on you. So imagine being in a small town, 400 people in a school, and that's like from freshman to senior year in high school, and everybody's like, oh, that person's, what is this? You've detected inactivity during your current live? What the heck? What does that mean? I don't even know what that means. Yeah, puzzle piece. What's up with that? How's it inactive? Do they not detect audio? Yeah, you have to play dumb. Exactly. Sometimes you have to play dumb. I know the school I went to that was very anti-intellectual. I was like, holy cow, I can't make myself a target here. And it still didn't work. They still targeted. They definitely, when I was a freshman, I got bullied bad because, you know, I was a tall, skinny dude. And they just were like, I had an older brother, thank goodness. He was like the most popular dude in school. But I mean, they still bullied me because I didn't know who I was. Yeah, I matched the puzzle piece, but why did it even happen? How is it not active? Clearly they detect audio. Yes, I've read a ton of nonfiction books recently. I read too much, actually. I can give you, I don't know what you've read so far, great books. There's this book called The Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene. Unbelievably good book. But it's a very thick, long book. I only read nonfiction. I never read fiction. I haven't read fiction since I was like 11. Well, that's not true. I've never read fiction on purpose, unless it was like a school project in like high school or something. but I never read fiction on purpose. Like I didn't go to read it. I'm like, I can't wait. Oof. I've heard Greene is pretty toxic. No way, dude. Robert Greene is one of the best authors, for sure. One of the best authors. 48 Laws of Power, great book. It has nothing to do with manipulating people like the book says. It just teaches you a lot of lessons of like human nature. He then wrote the book, The Laws of Human Nature, which is a much more fitting name for his book, The 48 Laws of Power. It does, the 48 Laws of Power, it's not what it seems. It's just literally The Laws of Human Nature, part 1 and part 2. He's called it The 48 Laws of Power, I think, to make it marketable. Like, ooh, 48 Laws of Power, I got to buy that book. He even did like this like little trick for PR sake. He hacked PR and said, oh, my book's banned in prisons throughout the United States because of the power moves you can learn from the book. It's like, bro, are you kidding me? You got a book banned from prison? Come on. It was just a PR thing. So it's kind of funny. Yeah, check out The Laws of Human Nature, 48 Laws of Power. Great books. Very much go. It's like a history book. It's so good. Like these scenarios they go through of like human nature. They're just real. When I read those, I was very intimidated by how thick they were. But once I got into it, I was like, oh my God, there's so much truth here. If you want to be like leveled with like truth of human nature, holy cow. They will knock your socks off if you wear socks. Yeah, what's up with I still don't understand the puzzle piece thing. I'm obviously rambling on here. So Robert Greene is amazing. I read most of his books during the pandemic. Yeah, that's when I started too. I read 48 Laws of Power right around when the pandemic started. And yeah, it was good. It was a good book. And then once The Laws of Human Nature I saw, I was like, oh, another 28-hour like read. Yes. 70-year-old bully. I don't know what that means, but okay. Laugh Out Loud has a 70-year-old bully. You can be a bully at any age and be a horrible person at any age. This no sound. Can you guys hear me? It just said no sound detected. Can you guys? Yes, you can hear me. Okay. So I don't know what is going on with TikTok. It's saying it doesn't detect my sound. I can see the equalizer bouncing up and down as I speak on TikTok. So clearly it's something. I'm just going to type. I'm here. Super annoying. Okay, I'm glad to hear. Haunted. Yeah, it's not haunted. They're probably restricting me or something. Or someone's reporting the stream for not having audio, which is just another probably trick to try to take down the stream. Yeah, I don't know what's up with the live. That's so weird. I've never had that live problem. But you know what? I usually get restricted for some reason I didn't know about because I said something, some unspoken rule. You know, that's the thing about it kind of goes back to free speech for like 2 seconds here. It's that imagine if you don't have a list of what you can and cannot say. And then all of a sudden you get dinged for something and you didn't know. Obviously, hate speech we all know is bad, right? This is just common sense things you just don't say. Yet some of these I almost said it. Some of these horrible people say things that they hate. Hey, what's up? These people just say hateful, horrible things. And they say it with a smile on their face and they think, oh yeah, you should be okay with it. It's free speech, right? Free speech. No, dude, it's not free speech, man. There are free of government intervention on your speech, but not freedom of consequence in society. And I just think it's interesting that TikTok is the mimicry of free speech. You have free speech. Unless you say stuff, we're not going to tell you what not to say. So you just can't say anything at all that we don't like, but we won't tell you what we don't like. We're just going to get you in trouble anytime you say it. It's like, I would rather have the rules spelled out. don't know about you guys, but I'd rather that. I want rules so I can like not break the rules. And it clearly, if you say something, you do break the rules, and you know you're saying something and you break the rules, and we have evidence because you said a word and here's the law. And ignorance of the law is not an excuse for breaking the law. You have to learn the law. Just like I have to know, wish there was a list of words I can't say on TikTok. It would be pretty easy to not say those words. I'd like to report for saying I'm stupid. Yeah, so no one said that. Who is this person? Truth does win, I hope. I don't think it always wins. Truth will out, always, I agree. I say that statement often. Truth will out, but I don't know about that. I watched a movie. You guys ever see the movie? I've seen it like 100 times probably, but Lord of War with Nicolas Cage. There's a statement at the end of that movie where he's like, he says like, if good men don't do something, then evil prevails. He was just like, might as well just say evil prevails. Sometimes I agree with that. It's like, man, no matter what you do. Thank you very much, MGG. It is definitely run by imbeciles, of course. But, before, when it was owned by China or Taiwan or wherever it was really TikTok was owned by, I heard it was so good. I think it was so good. Even when I first started creating, it was really good. And then quickly got curtailed. So it's too bad. But in war, truth becomes first casualty. I don't know about that. I don't think truth becomes the first casualty in all war. I think in a propaganda war it does. I have to hold the phone in non-hose handed to hear you. I don't know what that means. So you can hear me, Julie Bud? Or you cannot hear me, or you're just really loud outside so you can't hear me because you're mowing the lawn or something. Yeah, I like that. I like what Strummer of the Joe Strummer. I agree with that. Yeah, no hate speech. I agree. You are awesome. Thank you. Oh, thanks, David. I appreciate that. Oh, yeah, I get it. I get what you're saying now, Rhonda. All right. We hear you just fine. Thank you, health and happiness. I can always count on you. Cooking in the kitchen. You sound perfectly clear. Perfectly clear. All right. Good times. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. That's good. You can hear me. You should put your Bluetooth AirPods in or something. It might help. I don't know what Only in Monroe is, so I've not watched it. I'm going to look it up, though, now. Colbert. Is that a Colbert show? New Colbert? Only in Monroe. Colbert back in Only in Monroe, echoing the first episode. Monroe County Public Access? I don't know. Is that what you were referring to? I got to check it out. I would love to hear what he has to say. Wish I could like watch it on stream with you, but I don't know how to use this still. I gotta learn how to stream correctly over here. I know how to do it with other platforms, but I used to have a platform that did it perfectly for me. But then I was like, you know what? I'm going to use this other one, and this other one's way harder. Yeah, Stephen Colbert is awesome. I agree. He's funny. He's always been legit. War and propaganda do somewhat go together. Not always, but most of the time it does. I agree. I don't know what your point is, but I agree. Jack White, that brings me to did you guys see that video of the White House using Jack White music without his permission? That is insane. They just think they can take music and use it in their propaganda like that. I'm surprised Jack White's not suing them. I'm Polish, and right-winger really are allergic to leftist ideas. Yeah. So you say communism, socialism here, USSR was a communist government. Yeah. So it makes me sad that you think that's the same thing. And you're Polish, so I just thought you would be better than that. I guess you're not. I get why you're allergic to communism, because it's a failed, horrible thing, and it was ruled by a dictator and multiple dictators who forced. It wasn't even real socialism. It was corrupt. So you can't really compare the USSR to like real. I don't think communism's the way, guys. Like, I don't know what you think, who you think I am, but it sure as heck ain't it communism. I grew up thinking the USSR was our arch enemy my whole life. So I am anti-USSR. I am anti-communism. I am for a version or a piece of socialism. They think anything related to taxing the wealthy, controlling you is market. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, I see what you're saying now. I think if I had $100 million in the bank and they're like, hey, we're going to raise your taxes by like 3 to 5% to make sure we can pay for like services, I would go, that is part of living where I want to live right now. It's worth it. And it really wouldn't hurt me that much. And then I would also go, well, how do I make more money so I can cover that amount of taxes they want to tax me? Or how can I have a different business or write it off some way and do it? I don't know. For me, I would be a pretty giving person. I already, I'm okay with helping people out who don't have stuff I have. I want to help people. Yeah, it's good. I know you're not Dawood. I know you're not, you clearly are not communist. If you grew up, if you're Polish, you definitely, I don't know why anybody would want communism. It's a horrible system. It becomes corrupt really fast. People at the top, high level military get like all these rewards, and the people below, it's extreme wealth and inequality in communism too. Especially the USR version. Are you kidding me? There was people that were like living large back then, but they were high level. Yeah, authoritarianism. I agree. But the thing is, whether it's left or right authoritarianism, my thing is Russia turned into a right. We don't call it this, but Russia was in my mind, was a right-wing authoritarian dictatorship that just kept self-propagating itself. And they called themselves communist, but they weren't really communist. All they did was take away from the people. and gave their high level military people and people in the political party in charge all the money and stuff. Yes, it almost always does. It doesn't really matter. Like communism is far left and fascism is far right. And they're basically two sides that are, far right is lead by extreme violence and glorification of violence and all that stuff. And then the left is utopian type of idea, but they also lead by violence also. So no extreme is good. Anybody that wants extremes to me, are unhinged a little bit. Lee Champion, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. All right, let's see what we got over here. Colbert is funny and smart. Yes, he is. He's also really religious. I find interesting for a funny, smart guy, you'd think he wouldn't be as religiously as he is, but some things maybe clearly he is. He has magical thinking as well. So I watched Idiocracy. It seems close enough, right? Yeah, I'm glad you watched it finally. Watch it more than once, though. You can see there's like little pieces. You're just like, oh my gosh, this is today. This is one scene specifically. I made a video about this one, but it was like, I don't want to say it because I don't know if TikTok's going to get mad at me, but the guy's car was being destroyed. They're like trying to get away, and the government basically locked his car down while they were trying to drive away. And he like celebrated watching these guys like destroy his car. And he was like, yeah. And he's like, dude, that's your car being destroyed. Why are you happy? He was just like, yeah, get him. And he was like, bro, that's your car. He was celebrating watching his own car be destroyed. And he didn't understand why he shouldn't celebrate his car being destroyed. That is the time we're living in. Yeah. Yep. I agree about violence. Yep. Unfortunately, you have to make what it does is makes everybody else scared. So they don't want to step out of line. Go along to get along, or else. Sounds like an authoritarian childhood. Rondo. It's got electrolytes. It's hilarious. It was a great movie. Handmaid's Tale 2, yes. I watched like a couple seasons of that. I didn't like the show myself because I thought it was too like, there's no way anything like this could happen. It's just too extreme. And now I'm like watching. I think a lot of these people got ideas from these shows. Like I believe a lot of these folks were like, hey, that show sounds pretty great. They don't understand how not great it was. If you guys ever watched like Harry Potter movies, it's the same thing. Do you guys remember the Ministry of Magic? And then all of a sudden it became like a dark force in like the last 3 movies. And it turned into like a fascist. You guys, if you haven't seen Harry Potter movies, first off, what have you been doing with your life? They're really good movies. And it's an echo of today as well. You're just like, holy cow, this could never happen here. What an awful, awful feeling. Got to watch those movies. They're so good, first off. And then they're very much like today. Yeah, I think they used some of these TV shows to make their Project 2025 plan, is what I'm trying to say. I think they think that because you watch the shows, you are okay with the narrative. It seems familiar to you. I mean, I could be wrong, of course. Something you'll never hear a right-wing person say. Oh, I could be wrong. It's possible I'm wrong. Too funny. J.K. Rowling, yeah. Um, yeah, at the end of the day, I know she's considered, I don't really know any of the stuff she said, so I can't speak intelligently on it. But I know it's not good. But her movies were, whoever made the movies, I don't think she had anything, I don't know if she really wrote the movies part. I didn't read the books, so one of you can correct me. Yes, the Apprentice normalized Trump. And so did WWE when they made those, he made the appearance. If you guys haven't seen that WWE, it's just like this one wrestling match where he comes out, Trump pretends to be a wrestler and beats up like one of the, McMahon guy, and shaves his head on stage and stuff. Like these people remember it very, very much. So you should check it out, because this is the reason why they love this guy. NASCAR and WWE. NASCAR and WWE. Oh, those two things right there. Jerry Springer, yeah. I bumped into Jerry Springer once. Literally, physically bumped into him once in the freezing cold of Cleveland. I was walking and it was freezing cold. I was like freezing. There was no snow or anything. It was just freezing wind, everything. And I was walking. I don't remember why I was there. I was visiting a friend. And we were walking and I wasn't really looking in front of me I usually am very aware of my surroundings. But I bumped. So some guy bumps into me, side checks me. I was like, what the heck, dude? I turn around. It's Jerry Springer looking back at me. He's like, sorry. I'm like, Jerry Springer? It was really funny. I was like, what are you doing in Cleveland? But me and him, we didn't we weren't best friends or anything after that. He just bumped into me and I was just laughing about it. It's like, I just got bumped into by Jerry Springer. Yes. NASCAR, WWE, and Springer. I have to admit, I used to watch Jerry Springer when I was an undergrad. And then the funny part was, I didn't really know it was completely fake. I thought it was. But then one of my professors, no joke, I had a professor, and all of a sudden I was about to go to class. Probably an hour and a half away was my class. And I'm watching Jerry Springer as I'm getting ready to go to school. And all of a sudden, my professor was on Jerry Springer as a guest. And I was like, wait, that's my teacher right there. And I remember going into class and going, hey, you were on Jerry Springer. And he's like, yeah, I was. How'd you know? I'm like, I saw it, man. Why were you on Jerry Springer? He's like, we went in there with a story. It was all fake. I was like, what do you mean it is a fake show? I was like, I never really confirmed it. He's like, yeah, it's totally fake. I went in with a story. They didn't like our story, so they made us invent a different one, and we went on there and jokingly fought with each other. None of it's real. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, that confirms it not being real. That was the 90s, though, so late 90s. Yeah, yes. I think Trump would have been very happy being a pro wrestler, or at least a pro wrestler manager, playing the act. I wish someone would have saved us with that. Think of who is head of the education is now. I think it's one of the McMahons, isn't it? Men watches Jetsons too much. I like the Jetsons. I thought it was pretty good take on what society could be, but also cultural weird norms of a guy going to work every day too, which wouldn't apply. They didn't really think too far outside the box because they needed people to relate to be able to watch the Jetsons cartoon. The guy still went to work. He still commuted in his little spaceship. He made food really quickly, right? But, everything's still the same. That's kind of funny. Toledo. I didn't see your Toledo thing until right now. Greetings from Columbus. Oh, we got a couple of Ohio people. That's pretty cool. I don't envy the cold weather there in the winter, though. It is so cold. Whew. I think Springer was a much smarter dude for sure. He was the first influencer on social media too, if you really think about it. Who didn't know who Springer was in the late 90s? He was an alpha influencer. Right? Yeah, well, Tammy, you should make a plan to move away from Ohio then. I moved to California. If you can, I can do that. You can do this. Linda McMahon. Yep, Linda McMahon. She cray. Springer and the Cheater Peak Television. Yeah, dude, I watched it so often though. I have to admit, I don't know why I did, but I watched it very often because I don't know. You were waiting to see what was going to happen next. It was so over the top though. They got really dramatic. I was like, what is this? This feels too scripted. It's getting corny now. I can't watch this. Yeah, everyone did watch. I agree. You can live here. How dare you? Anybody can live in California. It's not as expensive as you think. It's just as expensive everywhere else. You can easily live here for basically the same price. Anybody telling you you can't live in California is cray. It's the same price. I was going to move back east a year ago and it was the same prices. So maybe a little bit more expensive to live where I live in California, but live a mile away from where I live and it's the same price. So I promise it's not is so more affordable than you think. Anybody that doesn't think California's affordable also crazy, man. Yeah, your house might have been that cheap, but you got to remember, imagine living in a place that has sun 300 days a year. Your life would change. Think about that. You can be outside 300 days a year of sunshine. Yeah, that would be great. Is that not worth? Would you pay an extra $1,000? How much would you put of a price on lifestyle? Everything you should really put on your life. Don't wait until you're like 80 to live in Florida. Live there now. Live somewhere where it's warm now. Sell everything and make it work. Best way to do it is just to do it. It's easy for me to say, of course, because I already live here, but I had to take the risk too. Like, I moved 3,000 miles away from where I lived, my entire life. And it was a huge risk. And if I failed, it was on me. I didn't have any backup. So I had to make it work. Just make it work. Yeah, it's hard to leave California once you're here. The quality of life is, anybody that says it's not worth it is crazy. It's beautiful. You could drive up the coast for the weekend and see like the most amazing things that you only see on like Instagram and TikTok, right? And it's here. Yeah, I have East Coast guilt still though. I have like this little bit of a guilt where if it's sunny out, you got to really enjoy the day, right? And then it's so sunny here, I still have the guilt, but it's built into me where I'm like, today it's a little overcast because I live closer to the water, and it gets a little more overcast where it's sunny inland. And some of these days they make it feel a little bit easier to working. Like right now, I'm working. This is my part of my job right here. So it's a little easier, but I just got back also from having lunch with a friend outside in 75-degree weather, which it's pretty close to that all year round. The coldest it gets during the day is like 60 degrees. Like, it's pretty awesome. It's not always sunny. There's like 65 days of cloudiness, but it's 300 days of not, and you can go out anytime. You don't have to worry about the weather or freezing to death or wearing layers of clothes. I literally wear this kind of clothes, athleisure shirts, like every day because you don't really need to put on anything else. I do lives like once a week. I want to do them more often, but it's I need to make sure that, people want to show up. I'm not going to just do a live to do a live. Different air in Cali. I'm not sure what that means, but yeah, I think the air is different in every state. Ohio's got different air. Connecticut's got different air. Florida's got some air, right? Florida, the state with the most filmed cops episode. Welcome to Florida. Ohio's not that bad. So the only town I've really been in Ohio is what was that place called again? I just said it's not Toledo. The place on the Cleveland, Ohio. I remember watching LeBron James at a basketball game in Cleveland, Ohio. I think it was like 2003. And they were all like, "Oh, he's like the new up and comer." I was like, whatever. He's no Michael Jordan. Little did I know. Watched him like in real life at the whatever Coliseum that was there. I don't know where Youngstown is, but that's cool. I don't know much about it. Ohio. What is your website for psychological research? You know, there's a lot of places to go and find this research, but there's like a lot of like peer-reviewed studies on a lot of these websites, like, or platforms like Science and Psychology Today and all sorts of places. Like they have to, usually almost always, I would say 99% of the stuff I talk about is like peer-reviewed studies. So you can just Google it and come up with the data. AI summaries usually give you the location of these places. And then once AI tells you where they are, you go and read them from the raw files, and then you take notes. And that's how I get my content, at least. I am highly educated. I'm both. I'd say it's both. Is your research extensive, or are you highly educated? I think it's both. Lots of graduate school and lots of understanding how to do research, which most people that have an IQ of 90 or less do not know how to do. But they do know how to speak like a parrot. They repeat things very easily. Ollie, want a cracker? Ollie, want a cracker? Thanks. You express yourself as brilliant. I don't know if I'm brilliant. That's going to be your judge. I would not consider myself dumb, but brilliant is who knows? You guys got to be the judge of that one. The propaganda. What's the propaganda? I don't fall for propaganda. Neither would you. 2 + 2 = 4. If someone tries to convince you 2 + 2 = 5, you just can't. If you already know the answer and you're convinced of the answer and you know how to get to that answer, 2 + 2 = 4, you can never be convinced 2 + 2 = 5, which is why they want you not to be smart. And that's why they attack schools, books, experts, intellectuals, anybody that holds knowledge they want gone. Oh, gotcha. I didn't see the rest. Sorry. Did the conversation have bigger amygdala to begin with, or did they get bigger? That's a good question. So there is no legitimate answer to nurture and nature. I'm going to speak theoretically of like how people age and how they call muscle memory in a way. If you don't use it, you lose it. So if you stop critically thinking for a long time and you don't use, like, let's just say I don't use my arm and it's always in a cast and it's never gets used. It's easier to not critically think if you haven't been critically thinking. And the more you don't do it, the more you don't do it. It's just like exercise, right? It's easy to not exercise. And then you get overweight and your muscles start to get smaller And it's easier to, hey, I'm just going to order another pizza because what's one more pizza? I just had a pizza yesterday, but look, I'm like 500, I'm 50 pounds overweight. So I'm just going to eat more pizza because the results of not eating that pizza is going to take months, if not a year, to result in losing weight. So I think people do that. I think people default to not thinking. And once you get used to not thinking, you continue to not think. And then you start to lose your ability to think critically. And parts of your brain might atrophy. I don't know the answer to this, by the way. I just think people's amygdala, they could have been born with it, right? But we haven't studied it enough. I don't know why we haven't studied it enough. I don't think people want the answer to it. I don't think like we want, it's strange how we work. I think people do have the answer, the definitive answer to these questions. They just don't want to share them because there's topics that it touches on that people don't want to talk about because it kind of goes back to things you don't have control over, right? So people that are too sensitive in terms of like your fear factor in your head, those people can easily be manipulated with causing more fear to them, which then results in like rage and shame and rage. Shame and rage kind of go together. Shame and anger go together. You get mad because you're afraid. So fear makes you shameful because you're afraid of something. Shame turns to rage. Rage eventually explodes into outward, not usually inward. And avoidant people specifically, avoidant people who can't communicate, don't know how to communicate, won't communicate. They'd rather anything in their lives than communicate and share their feelings or their emotions. So they let this like shame and rage build up and then they dump it onto somebody or dump it onto a situation, which is why you have road rage, which is why you have people doing crazy things because their rage boils over and they have no outlet. And they dump it onto the next person they see. And if you're in the way of someone like that, it could not go well for you. So these people are walking around like afraid to death. And then they're like watching Fox News, which reiterates, be scared, be afraid, be scared, be afraid. You're the only real Americans. You are fighting for our culture. You are the white knights, and they're all bad people. That's what Fox News and these places propaganda do. And it's always, I shan't say always, but I'm going to say it's almost always boomers. No offense to boomers. I'm going to be a boomer soon too at some point. So get over it. Boomer is a mentality, not an age thing. But for some reason, Fox News, the people who watch it, rage watch it, these folks get triggered into thinking like they are looking for purpose and they don't have a lot going on in their lives. So they're looking for something to fill that void. And I feel like these folks are getting triggered by these messages and going, oh man, I need to fight for our country. It's like giving them a whole new purpose and making a bigger deal out of things. And they're just like, I know people that literally walk around with pews in their pockets, living in like tiny little towns, wanting something to happen so they can react and feel important again. That's how much. Think about this. There are people walking around wanting to get into a disagreement to feel important again. The guy, Chud, I think his name was Chud the Builder, did exactly this, by the way. If you watch any of his content, hateful, horrible person. And he did exactly this thing. He went around, caused trouble, wanted trouble because something in his life was not going well. So he thought, I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to spread hate. I'm going to do these horrible things until I get to be famous. Well, you're famous now with $1 million bounty on your head, and you're probably not going to, you're going to be in jail for a while. Chud's always been a dud, dude. These are the type of people are looking for, like, imagine that. It was a young dude too. And I think he had a plane ticket to Istanbul or something for May 22nd. I don't know what he was going to do there, but that's what they found in his car, a plane ticket to Turkey. I don't know what he was going to do, but that's where he was going. So something in his life was not going well. But imagine that times 100. People are aging and their kids. Great example of this, by the way, is The Necessary Conversation. Go watch that show if you haven't seen it. And you'll see an aging father before he got sick and, was in the hospital and whatever, rehab. He was a hateful, horrible, spiteful person. At least he sounded like it. But what he really was a kid inside. He's a child that was never accepted by his parents. His biological parents gave him up for adoption. And then the father that adopted him also they didn't care about him, and they were supposedly tough love, which is basically authoritarian parenting. So no one cared about this guy. And then he tried to pass that kind of toxicity on to his kids. And his kids turned out to be the opposite of those people. They went the opposite, right? Literally a 180, which is kind of how I was raised too. Like I got raised in a very bad situation like that as well. Very toxic. And you either completely reject it or you become it and enforce the rules and accept people to be an authoritarian person to you. These are the people that fall for cults. I hate to put Tony Robbins' name into this, but people who fall for like Tony Robbins stuff are the very similar, if not exactly the same, as these authoritarian people. The people who can fall for cults are they do the same stuff. CrossFit, Tony Robbins, MAGA cult, Jim Jones. Like, these people are looking for meaning and a community. And some of them, not most of them, some of these start off in a very positive way. Jim Jones, guys. I don't know if you guys watched my video about Jim Jones and the Jones cult there, but it started off in a positive way. It was the first integrated church in, where did it start? I think it was Ohio or Indiana. No, it was Indiana. Jonestown stuff, the Jones whole thing, they moved to San Francisco afterwards, but they started in Indiana. And these guys were like, they marched for like civil rights and all this stuff. They seemed to be a really positive thing. And then it went bad eventually. Drugs got involved. Jim Jones was doing drugs like crazy. And it's just it's evidence that people have been dying for community for like decades. Our loneliness epidemic is like off the charts. And then, you have like communities like the Jonestown community thing, and people, I don't know, people want that. People are looking for it. So church used to be the place, guys. Like in the 80s, I remember we moved, and first thing we did was go to the local church and see what was what before we knew anybody, and you got to make a few friends there. And then all of a sudden you're in a new town and it's not so new anymore. And then you keep going to the same church every Sunday and you keep seeing the same people. And eventually you now have some friends. No one really goes to church anymore, which is okay by me because I'm not religious, but how do we keep removing places to meet other people. and we wonder why we're lonely, right? Like people stop going to church, which by the way, like I said, no offense to church. It is what it is. I'm glad I don't go to church. I never will go again. But it's the community aspect of it. We remove that. And then all of a sudden, especially the pandemic, all of a sudden we're working from home. So we remove the other place we used to spend most of our lives is at work. So now you're working from home. And on top of that, school is from home. So now people are even still at this point are working from home a lot and going to school from home sometimes. And I think it's just making it much harder for people to connect, which makes a MAGA thing. Why do you think people are looking for people to hang out with? These guys are going to like a church in a way for them. They're going to like a concert / church / whatever they do at Trump rallies, chanting like hate chants. Hey, at least everybody knows all the words. Easy to remember. Hate. Basic things they understand very easily. 100% on Bob from the Necessary Conversation. That's why I want you on that show. They had a therapist and parents said it helped. Yeah, the thing is, I love the therapist that was on there, but I also think she was a little, this is just my take, no offense to her, she's a little mousy. Like she didn't really speak up too much. And I know like therapy is like listen. But Bob needs to be talked to in his language. Bob doesn't respect anything anybody says unless you give it back to him some. Like it's just how he works. Those kind of guys are like, hey, F you too. Okay, cool. We both, I agree with this person. He can handle himself. Like that's the kind of person he is. Like insult him back. And if your insult's good, they'll be like, all right, Jimmy, good job. Like that's what guys do. They insult each other until like, oh, okay, you're on the same page as me. Now we can talk. Church was a social organization. Now it's I can't think of the word Christianity anymore without thinking of Christian nationalism now. It's been destroyed. You say Christian, I instantly think you are Looney Tunes. I instantly think extremist, and it makes me sad to see that people are doing that. And yet Christianity, it preaches forgiveness and helping of people and feed thy neighbor and help the, people. And I don't know. I always thought it was supposed to be helpful. Clearly it's been taken not that way. Capitalism is for the people. Socialism is for capitalists. I don't know about that one. I think you've got that reversed. Therapist was not great. I agree. Yeah, again, I'm not hating on her. She did her best. That's just her style. I would be like, hey, bro, pump the brakes. Bobby. I know exactly like what would trigger him. He needs to be like triggered into like this thing, and then like he needs to pull back a little bit and be like, oh, okay, this guy's not going to take my smack, and he's going to like talk back to me. So I can't just bully this guy or girl, whoever would be talking to him. You need to show him you're not going to take getting bullied, dude, but you can't be like, you're not going to bully me. No, you can't say that. You just got to bully him back until he's, shoot, I got nothing to say. When he starts like trying to literally insult you or like say something violent to you, that's when you win and he starts to take you. I don't know, whatever. Tammy Fitzgerald, you're welcome. Capitalism is a snake devouring itself. Dude, I don't think capitalism is good either. But I also think what are the alternatives? Like utopian socialistic things are also unrealistic. That's why we have laws. People, you expect people to be good. We have laws because we've already proven that people cannot be good. There has to be consequences, unfortunately. If we relied on people to be good, And I wish they would be, but most people do not think like you or me. There are bad people, and all it takes is like one or two bad people to then break the trust of society. Yeah, I think it is easier to sell utopia than reality, but the problem is we live in reality, and we definitely could limit bad things from happening, but we actually have to be good people, legitimately ethical and morally legitimately good people have to make rules and not make rules for profit. Don't sell out the future so you can get rich now. Thanks, Pamela. I will do my best. It is really a lot of work, you guys. You probably don't think so, but making content like videos all the time, like it takes a lot of work. It's way more work than you would ever imagine. Editing is a lot of work. It's tiring. Sometimes I just want to kick on some music and live in an Excel spreadsheet. Sounds amazing. Music and problem solving and fun things like that to me are awesome. You can't get utopian stuff because people have no incentive to not be selfish. I need a certain kind of like thing in my life, and then I would be, I'm the kind of person that could never be bought because I just wouldn't, I don't know. I couldn't be bought. I know that for sure, but I'd have to have a certain amount of money in my life where I was like, look, this number guarantees I cannot be bought. And that would be, oh my God, a galaxy. Who the hell, what was that? Who got me that? That was really nice of you, whoever that was. Was that Jura Nerd again? It was you again? That's 2 galaxies, Jura Nerd? Unbelievable. Real cool. Law of reciprocity over here. You're making me like blush and stuff. I didn't try to mess up your singing con. I thought you were going to win. You did really good. Thought I could help. Get that FB page going. Change your life very quickly. Of course. I'm glad to help. Yeah, my face did turn red for sure. Good job, Juro Nerd. Yeah. So me and my boomer friends have been what does that say? Me and my boomer friends have been to so many Trump protest marches. That's cool. Yeah, dude, again, boomer doesn't mean you're old. Boomer means you have a mentality of a boomer. Boomers try to force their beliefs on other people. They're the hallway monitors. They're the ones that are like, yeah, no running in the hallway. I'm telling the teacher on you. Those kind of people, like, we don't need you to be the police of the neighborhood. Oh, stop driving 20 miles an hour in a 15 zone. Like, buzz off, dude. Don't fish in my pond. You're not allowed in here. You know what? You're not really the fishing police. So, like, those are kind of people. Like Karens of society. It doesn't really matter what age you are. Boomer just means you're kind of like a Karen a little bit. Just an FYI. Don't be a Karen. And I don't mean it if your name's Karen. Okay? It's just you got unfairly deemed. The name Karen got unfairly deemed as a negative. Yes, I locked myself into the bakery a lot. Yes, so you don't have to deal with people. Dude, some of the most appealing times of my life is just jumping into a spreadsheet, doing some advanced like formulaic stuff. And with some music, really good music on. I have some really sick playlists. At least I think they're good. And it's just such a good feeling. I don't know why it makes me feel good after like 8 to 10 hours of doing that. I could easily be like, oh man, what a great day. It's the cutest, Fox Mulder. Don't look like Fox Mulder, dude. But I'll take it. He was a pretty cool guy. Huge fan. I was a huge fan of X-Files. Tamsen. Hi, Lucas. Hello. Face orange, biting nails. Yep. I don't bite my nails, but I'm curious as to why farmers voted Trump again, even though they knew he would do the tariff thing. That is such an obvious thing to me. And maybe you guys don't see it as obvious, but farmers. So Trump is like the Marlboro man to these guys. Crazy as it may sound, he's like literally the opposite of a really tough guy or a cool guy or anybody to like mimic. But to these Marlboro, to these dudes that are farming, they thought Trump was like, I don't know why or how they even got there, but they think, oh yeah, this is our guy. Like this is our Marlboro man. I'm gonna be like him. I'm gonna vote that way. And that's what they did. They saw Trump as somehow the outsider, even though he's just a nightmare. They love the idea of irritating their like liberal friends more than reality. Yes, Mayor McGee, exactly. Yes, I agree with that statement. With farmers, no, they'll be bailed out. The thing is, they're not really bailing them out all that quick right now. I don't know what that means, Rhonda, but yeah, male Karen. Yep, there are male Karens and just regular Karens. Yep, that's an accurate thing. I hate the way they. I don't know what that means. Is our current economic system still a capitalist? I mean, you could argue how long has it ever been really capitalist? Has there really ever been an American dream? I mean, I think there is. I've been in the tech space for a long time, and there's no question you could build a company and sell it for a lot of money. I was part of companies that were sold for a lot of money. So if you could do that and you weren't rich before, you were rich now, and you're now in super upper class. So you could still pull that off. Thing is, like, how often does that happen now? How easily could that happen now when there's monopolies so clearly happening in our plain sight? I don't think it's easy to do now because of our current administration. Can't really be that successful in a place where they decide who gets to be successful. So, mouse or no mouse using Excel? Both, dude. But mostly not using a mouse. I don't know why you would use a mouse in Excel unless you're doing certain things. But yeah, I don't know about using a mouse in Excel. Like I don't know. It might be easier to graphically go to a formula and like do like an if and or / like VLOOKUP or something like that in Excel, where you can just like click on fields. But yeah, I mean, I know how to use all the tabs and tab backwards and stuff like that. Although I haven't used Excel for a while, and it's becoming very much an antiquated piece of software because of AI. You can just like, hey, dude, put this in a spreadsheet for me and like fix it all. And if you know how to look at numbers, you can eyeball it and say, yeah, hey, I got it right, or nope, it didn't work. Farmers are ultra conservative. I agree. Until something happens to them, and then they want everybody's help. They are. The funny part is like I'm assuming they don't understand how hypocritical that is. Oh my God, yeah, libs, eat it, libs. And then all of a sudden they need to be bailed out. Like, yeah, I really didn't know things were going to go wrong. And all of a sudden it's like, wait, wasn't it like, who cares about your feelings? Like, you got to, just pull yourself up by your bootstraps, bro. Like, it's the hypocrisy they just don't care about. They think there's like rules for you, but not for them. And they think nothing touches them until it touches them. They don't care. There's no way to change their minds. They're not very, I mean, let's be honest, like farmers I wouldn't say they're, 130 IQ people. I'm not going to say they're dumb, but I'm not going to say, like, it doesn't really take a whole lot of intelligence to farm. You do the same thing every single day, every single day. They're probably really smart about like machines that, cut grain or whatever kind of farm you have. But I can almost guarantee they're not like some gifted savant running a farm. But, again, I'm not hating on farmers either. I have my great aunt had a giant dairy farm in Minnesota, so respect to the farmers that are still in my family. They are really unbelievably nice, kind, super friendly people. Some of the best people. Which is pretty surprising, right? I don't know. Farmers are at least the farmers I have in my family were like unbelievably nice when I knew them. I haven't talked to them in years and years and years, but they're super nice. Minnesota people are like usually really kind people. Upper Midwest are just like really great, unbelievably friendly people to the point where you're just like, wow, these people are so nice. I don't even know what to say. Like such nice people. Yeah, until they own the libs. Yeah, it's kind of weird. The last little while here, the culture wars that have happened, and I hate saying that because there's just one person that has created all of this hate, and we just try. We hate the changes, and like everybody's so culturally like different to each other. There was one person that stoked hate, and he's still in power right now, and for some reason, no one's willing to just like put a pin and say this is the problem. One person is truly the problem. Yet we are like, no, both sides. No, there's no both sides, dude. There's one side that has been conscripted into hate, and those people don't have a lot going on in their lives. So they farm or they do whatever they're going to do, and then they blame it on the wrong people. I'm a huge fan that you're in Minnesota. Like I said, some of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. And I mean just two amazingly, like, here's the shirt off my back, nice people. Unbelievably kind, good people in Minnesota. To the point where I'm like, it's really easy to take advantage of these people being so nice. When I was a kid, I was like, how are these people so nice and like not getting walked all over by their neighbor? And I was like, oh, their neighbors are just as nice too. I was like, okay, so everybody's nice. So that's why everybody's like nice to each other. And then the thing is like, there's still neighbory type of people in Minnesota. So like they all hang out. So if someone has an idea or a belief, it's easy to manipulate nice people when you all of a sudden start watching and doing the same stuff all the time. And you're like, because your neighbors actually talk to each other in Minnesota. Here where I live, like people I don't even know my neighbors at all because they don't want to talk to me, and I kind of don't really want to talk to them because I don't know. It's very transient. California's a transient place, at least where I live it is. Anyone else hoping gas prices get up to $10 per gallon? Why would you want that? I mean, it'd be it wouldn't hurt me. I have a hybrid vehicle, but for people who have big, heavy trucks, I don't wish ill will on anybody. I wish they would just come to their senses, but why would they? They are too, how do you say it? They are too, I hate the word prideful because prideful really isn't the right term. They're too insecure to admit they're wrong. And again, this is something I've experienced. I think most of the people that support Trump are very high in narcissistic traits. So the people I know who do support Trump, even right now, have never once in my life admitted they were wrong. They're too scared to. They think that will be used against them somehow. I don't know how, Like, I don't know what they think is going to happen if they admit they're wrong. I admit I'm wrong like 100 times a day. So I literally learn like 200 things a day probably. And I'm like, oh, I thought I knew this. I did not know this. I think Socrates said it best. Like, you know, the more you learn, the more you don't know things. I think he was the first like written down person who said it. And yeah, so I think it's really a benefit where you can say, oh, made a mistake. I don't know why it's so easy for me. I didn't think it was hard. I don't know how it's hard for anybody to like admit they're wrong. I can't relate to it at all. It's unrelatable to me because I will say I'm wrong when I'm so obviously wrong. Like, oh yeah, my bad. Right. Totally my bad. I don't know why that's hard. Like I said, I cannot relate except for being like ultra insecure when I was like really young, 6, 7, 8. I'm like, oh, I don't want to be proven wrong. But then I was like, hey, it's all right to be wrong. I was taught in school. It's good to be wrong because then you learn how to be right. And I don't know. Some people, I don't know. I got in a lot of trouble too asking questions when I was a kid. Too many questions. You're asking too much, Deanna, like all the time. And then I was labeled the bad person for asking too many questions, for being inquisitive. When people would say to me, like, because I said so, I was like, I don't know what that means. Can you give me, like, why though? So, because I said so was not a good answer for me. I kind of needed the real answer. Let's just say that didn't work out very well. Yeah, if you prove them wrong, they're well, but yeah, the problem was like you could ask questions or say something. It was just like, yeah, it was just not good. Don't ask questions and you'll be perfectly fine. You know, it's funny, like when you're a kid in school, they preach to you like individuality. Like, oh yeah, be yourself, be you, be who you are. And then as an adult, they like force you into conformity. And you wonder why people don't think. It's because you're forced into the conformity of whatever people are doing in whatever town you live in. You are a product of your environment. It's hard to keep up with comments, man. Fox News is definitely a big problem. I think the United States should ban and make laws around propaganda TV. I think it's bad. Just imagine, I'll give you an example. Think of like World War II. We were in like war and Germany had like a propaganda channel on one of our channels when, you know, obviously TV wasn't big in the 40s. Let's be honest, like it was very brand new technology. Hardly anybody had it. But imagine they had like a radio broadcast that was like a really big radio broadcast. And it was like brought to you by Germany during World War II that was just spewing propaganda. We would ban it. we would not be okay with that. Like, yet we have stations, TV, video content, whatever it is, like saying Fox, OAN, yes, Newsmax, exactly right. Totally agree. These places should be highly regulated. You cannot produce stuff that's propaganda actively working to undermine democracy. I wish I could have put that in one of my videos, yet I just knew it would get banned. Crazy that it would get banned. But, you know, what are you going to do? But imagine we would absolutely ban that propaganda channel coming in from Germany or Japan during World War II. We'd be like, this can't be on our TV or this can't be on our radio. We just would. Because propaganda, even back then, I don't know if you guys ever watched like movies like from World War II, but I think it was The Pacific was the show on HBO I watched. And they had this lady always broadcasting, this woman that spoke really good English, but it was like Japanese propaganda. like always on radio trying to trick like American sailors into and people at war, convince them that things weren't bad or you're fighting the wrong enemy and stuff like that. Propaganda works. And that's why, and somehow we allow it. It just doesn't make sense. But again, that's maybe why I'm not in charge of anything like in the government because I would make too much common sense. Maybe, I don't know. I wouldn't be able to be bought. Probably bad for, it's probably bad to get other people rich. Yeah, I got booted from Sunday school. Yeah. Yeah, the questions and religion don't really go well together. And I went to a very Catholic school, so like went to church like every day, grammar school, and went to church on Sundays. And yeah, you can't ask too many questions. They don't really like that because their answers are like, because it just was. It's like, what? What do you mean it just was? Yeah, Tokyo Rose. That was it. That's the right name. Yep. I couldn't remember the name. That is correct. Tokyo Rose. Good call. Curious George is another, yep, propaganda thing for sure. A lot of those cartoons back in the day were very propaganda heavy for, towards America, which is good because, you should be for, you should not be for your country, but it shouldn't be over humanity. Like it shouldn't be that way. I don't know. Yeah, I can imagine Yoda, like you ask questions with religion, they don't have a lot of answers. Because I said so is basically the answer. It doesn't really work well for me either. Right? I don't know what that was, but that was pretty cool. Um, I my daughter asked a question, who do we do the party becomes so bad? Voting them out doesn't do anything. She got thrown out of her sixth grade class and sent out. Really? For asking a completely, Wendy, asking a completely legitimate question? Howdy. Um, yeah, no, it's a tough one. I would think that's a common sense question that I would ask too. Sixth grade is a kind of time period when to ask that question. Um, if you look at our Declaration of Independence, it says exactly when that is. It's like pretty early in on the Declaration of Independence. It says when this government stops supporting, I wish I could remember it by heart, but it's like as soon as the government is not helping people for the pursuit of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, it's the people's duty to throw off and abolish and reinstitute government that actually does do that for the people. So the answer is, I don't know. Like, I can't really say. Probably get de-TikToked. But I'm assuming you kind of like know the answer already. Aren't we waiting for just like a senator or congressman to like go sit on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial and say, hey, everybody show up here now? Who wouldn't get behind that, dude? Yeah, they do want sheep. That's correct. Let's change the subject. Oh, I'm such an idealist. This is one of my biggest downfalls. Nah, Fetterman isn't even a person anymore, dude. I don't even know if he was legitimately ever. I think there's gonna be a lot of people like him running as undercover certain things, and then they'll come out as the other party. That guy, Graham Plattner, is, he seems legit. But that whole tattoo thing really threw me off because I knew what that tattoo was like right away. I've studied history since I was 6. It was my thing that kept everything in my life steady. So facts, science, history, all that stuff that cannot be argued with, right? It was in books. Can't argue with that stuff. Like when I saw that tattoo, I was just like, yo, before anybody said anything about it, I was just like, that guy's got a Totenkopf on his chest. And I was just like, how do they not know that that is one of those bad tattoos? Like it was just, I instantly knew what it was. Everybody knows what that symbol was. Being ignorant of that symbol is disingenuous, but we cannot also hold everybody accountable for every bad thing they've ever done in their lives and then expect somebody great to come from it because we've decided we're canceling everybody. There's nobody left if we try to we do like a purity test on everybody and everything they have ever done ever, because nobody's pure. There's nobody out there that's your ideals in your mind. Nobody's perfect. And that guy seems pretty legit. So I don't know. I have a tough one. It's a tough one for me. I was studying civics by 5th grade. Yep. I didn't really care about civics as much. Although it's part of history, so I still had to learn it. My weightlifting teacher was also my civics teacher. Oh, that's interesting. Later on, when I got out of the United States Marine Corps, that was pretty cool, man. Marines, legit force. Unfortunately, though, at the same time, I've had a few people in the military, ex-military, retired, who are in charge of a lot of stuff. Like high-level people in my DMs on Facebook telling me crazy stuff. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like radical, like liberals? What? Dude, you guys, the only thing you guys like make fun of liberals for is like blue hair. We're so radical. We're like, people are wearing like blue hair. I am wise for my age. How do you know what my age is? Like, I might just look good for my age. But yeah, it's funny like how they make fun of like people, like guys wearing like dresses and like having like blue hair, people having like blue hair. Like this is the only thing you guys can find that makes us like seem like evil or bad. Like I've colored my hair before, not blue, but I've like gone blonde when I was really young, stupidly bleached my hair blonde once. It did not look good. But it was still, I think everybody's probably tried to color their hair at one point of their life. And it's just funny like that. That's all they can come up with to like make us look crazy. I wouldn't even say, I don't know. I guess I am a left person for sure, but I'm not like some radical. I'm not radical at all. I'm pretty square. I'm square. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I'm pretty square, dude. All I do is make videos for you lovely, lovely people. Tamson, it's a very nice compliment. I'm wise for my age. I am much probably older than you think I am. I'm not going to tell you how old I am, obviously. I'm just like really like, I just turned 103. Doing pretty good. It's that 300 days of sunshine. You guys are really missing out. All right, let's see. Okay. What about Ted Cruz? I think I saw something. Can you do a video of what Ted Cruz, Marco were against Trump in 2016 and now supporting him? I mean, it's pretty obvious what those people are. I don't really like to do things that are like super obvious. I'm not saying it's bad, but I have a hard time like following like trendy things for people. Um, it's so obvious that they're just like, think about that. Like they're willing to become the bully. Do you guys remember the Christmas Story? The bully and his little buddy, Scott Farkas. They were willing to be Scott Farkas's little helpers. And until Ralphie, popped him one, and all of a sudden the little helper ran away. That's who those people are. They are bullies. They're all bullies. Ted Cruz is one of the worst people in the history of the United States, as far as I'm concerned. I think, but that's my opinion. Not that's, I don't know how much value that is, probably none. But he's I think, not a good person. And I don't know how anybody can see he is a good person. It's some kind of blindness. I don't know. Fascinating and also very sad at the same time, because it's like, I can make a video on that. Like, how could anybody think Ted Cruz is a good person? Think about that. Texas loses power and he's on his way to Cabo. Like, how do you get out of that one? Like, how does his followers not see that electricity went out in Texas, and instead of fighting to get electricity back and holding those people accountable, he goes to Cabo San Lucas instead. By the way, good name, bad look. Yeah, but how does he keep getting reelected if his neighbors hate him? Like, I can see why he never got elected president. He's a horrible person. But again, dude, this is my opinion. Don't take it with a grain of salt. I don't understand either Marco Rubio or Ted Cruz. I don't understand those people. But, it's probably why I'm not in charge of anything, guys. Right? I'm not in charge of anything in the government. So I would be the worst politician, because I don't think I'd be very good at it, because I wouldn't be able to be bribed or anything. Like, I'd be like, yeah, I don't really care what you say. It's not happening. Yeah. I'd just be like, no, not going to work out. I would need like major protection, because people would not want me to be president for very long. Because it just wouldn't work. Like, again, I couldn't be corrupted. I'd rather not be corrupted. It'd just be so easy for me to not. I've always had that streak in me where, yeah, it just isn't really right to do, so I'm not going to do it. Here's the thing. I think if you become president, like, why don't we just give them like $20 million? Like, here, for the next 4 years, here's $20 million. Now you can't be bought. Do what's right. There you go. Problem solved. Like, if someone gave me like, hey, here's $10 million to be president, I'd be like, yeah, I don't really need anything else. Like, oh, you mean you're going to give me $100 million to do this? I don't really need it. $10 million is enough. I don't need to be bought. Like, I could take $1 million of that dollars and, go invest it somewhere and have it double or triple. Or if I get really lucky, 10x, and all of a sudden now 10 million is now 20 million. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like a long-term thought process. And I know it's not, but like, how do we not? I don't know. Mom Donnie is like a perfect example of what kind of a person should be in power right now. I think the guy Mom Donnie is, I might be saying his name wrong, but great mayor of New York City. I can't believe like they're so upset that they're like taxing billionaires more. And it's like, bro, like, you're a billionaire, just pay more if you're like living there. Why is that such a problem for you? I don't think I'll ever understand that, because I just am not one of those people that could have $1 billion and go, no, I'm not going to pay an extra like 1% in taxes, which is like helpful. And on top of that, if you have $1 billion, you're making, just by putting half of that, just by putting 1/10 of that, let's just say 1/10 of that, putting it in like a high return money management account, you could easily spread across a bunch of accounts, obviously, because there's maximums and then there's like insurance on that money. So then, if you ever lose it or something, there's insurance for you. But you could easily convert that to pay the amount of money you owe in taxes pretty easily, so that it could just pay your taxes for you automatically because your investments are there. And then the rest of the money, just that's your money, right? You can just run around and make wise investments. If I had $1 billion though, I would be going out and probably making a millionaire at least once a week, just going around, just like randomly hanging out in society going, you know what? I think that person right there deserves to be a millionaire. And then bam, just would make a new millionaire. Like, you now have $1 million, you go buy. And I don't know. Probably why I'm not a billionaire though. Not hoarding money. I don't think you should hoard money. Yeah, rich and selfish, but at some point, like, how come you don't ever become altruistic? Doesn't make sense to me. It's not logical. You can't help everybody, but you can help a lot more people than just like doing nothing. So imagine if like a billionaire made another, let's just call it 100 new millionaires every year. Just was like, I'm giving $100 million away and 100 people are getting it. And you just keep doing that year after year after year. I mean, you're changing people's lives, changing people's outcomes, slowly changing the world in a way. I don't know. Again, probably why I'm not in charge. Yeah, I agree. Narcissistic people like Elon Musk will never be happy. I understand that, though. I'm also a person that's like a hardworking, always looking for the next accolade. I'm always looking to be better, try harder, get to another new goal. I am a goal seeker for sure. Like, I'm an overachiever. And I get it, but at the same time, being selfish about it just doesn't make sense to me. I work for many wealthy people. I'm not one of them, by the way. They're a funny bunch. They nickel and dime. Yeah, I know. Yeah, Barbara, I totally get it. And I've worked for a ton of wealthy people. I mean, they weren't wealthy, and then they became super wealthy. And they nickel and dime stuff for sure. And they try to save money because they live like they did before they got wealthy. So they always have this like nickel and dime mentality, and they always think there's this mentality of like you're going to lose it tomorrow. It could be lost tomorrow. That whole sense of urgency that was always there to become rich. And by the way, I've gone down that path for sure before. One of the businesses I started a long, long time ago went public in like 2017, but I was not part of the company anymore, so I did not get rich from it. But that's how close you are to that thing. And if you don't start, I don't know, for me, I always think you need to send the ladder down. When you get helped by all these other people, you have to remember those people, help them back if they need it. And if they don't need it, go help other people get up that ladder as well. Because there's so many people that have helped. There's no rich person that ever just did it on their own. 95% of it's luck, and the other 5%, maybe 1% is the hard work, and the other 4% is like connections and people allowing you to do certain things. You have to be let into the club. You can't just force your way into the club of like becoming successful. Got to make the right friends, the right connections. It's definitely not someone wants to buy my company for $100 million. I'm rich now. No, it's all about connections still. I'm not a complete YouTuber yet. When I have like 100,000 subscribers, see that? See how I move the goalpost for myself? When I get to 100,000, that'll be the time. 100,000 subscribers. And then that'll be like, no, until I get to 500,000 subscribers. And then it'll be once I hit 1,000,000 subscribers, that's the number. Right? So that is the number. I really want to do 1,000,000, but I do also am excited to get to 100,000 at some point. That'd be really cool. What's this DNA stuff I'm looking at here? Oh man, that's so far back. Handed over money. Narcissist people are more like Elon. Handed over money. Yep, they were handed money. Elon Musk definitely got rich because he was already rich. Almost all super wealthy people that have told these stories, I'm a self-made so-and-so, almost none of them are self-made so-and-sos. Bill Gates, his father was an ultra wealthy lawyer in Seattle. Jeff Bezos, ultra wealthy family. Elon Musk's father had multiple houses. They were super wealthy off of apartheid in South Africa. And absolutely, his father gave him like 60 grand. Doesn't sound like a lot of money, but in the 90s, when he was doing his company, 60 grand is a lot of money, especially when you don't have to pay rent. He was living in his like office. So is 60 grand back in the day was a lot of money for a startup. And he didn't have to pay his bills. His dad paid all of his stuff for him. And yeah, and he was also an illegal immigrant from like the 90s and the early 2000s. He was not supposed to be here. So Elon Musk benefited from being an illegal immigrant in the United States and got rich from it, but didn't start from the ground up. He started from like on a ladder. He started 20 rungs up. So it's a lot easier to get to the top when you start 20 rungs up the ladder. So some of these things I can't say out loud. I hope you guys know that. Success is living the life you want to live. Well said, love, bud. Love to bud. It absolutely is. I had a number I wanted to make, a number I always had in my head. And I realized later, I was like, that number means nothing. What means something is I live the life I want to live. And I'm on a certain time where you're not locked into life and working for somebody that just makes you feel bad about yourself all the time. You feel like you're wasting your life and stuff. Like I've been there. I've worked at jobs like that, but there was always a little thing I made for myself at the top. Like I'm working here to get to here. This is temporary. Always, if you guys are in a bad spot now, make little goals for yourself so that the thing you're doing is temporary. And, no one paid for my college and stuff. So I had to work a full-time job while I was in school full-time. So, I was a waiter for 4 years. Think about that. It was a good job, though. I actually enjoyed it. It made me outgoing when I was very shy. And then it blended. I used to be like super shy. I made myself like this. I didn't even know I was doing this, by the way. I just did it somehow innately. Everybody asked me about that too. How is Trump so smart? How does he know all these like psychological things? He doesn't know he's doing them. Some people do things innately. They pick up on things and we think they're like geniuses. No, they just see like, ooh, that person's really nice. I could take advantage of them. So that's what he does. And this innate skill that was built into him through his childhood was here's how you take advantage of people and screw people over. So he's not some genius. He was trained to look for the weakness and innately take advantage of people. I'm sure his father had a lot to do with that. The toxic childhood he had. Nobody talks about. But anyway, so I had to create an alter ego for myself, which I didn't even know I was doing. I was just like, hey, I'm really shy. I have a really hard time talking to people. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to allow myself to be this outgoing person that makes me feel very cringy. The word cringe didn't even exist back then, by the way, but it made me feel really uncomfortable being this like outgoing person because I had to be, because I was a waiter. And what happened over time after I allowed myself to do this like a little ritual before I went to work every day, this person that I allowed myself to be, like on stage Luke, blended with the shy Luke, and it connected and eventually blended into the person I am now, which I have no problem speaking now and talking in front of like lots of people. But before, I was super shy. So like you can, if you can pull it off, like just try and allow yourself to be cringe, I guess you could say. Worked out well. But you guys should go check out my video though. I also released, if you hadn't seen that video on like narcissistic family dynamics, like I think that's a pretty important video. It really hits close to home on me because like when you're like a person in a narcissistic family system, you get told to go along to get along and not talk about yourself or do anything like that. And it doesn't allow you to be who you are. And it doesn't allow you to be, it's authoritarian, like parenting kind of forces you in. We always say like school and society pushes us into this conformity. Like kids are geniuses at like 5 or 6 years old. Like a lot of kids, they tested kids and like a lot of kids were like, turned out to be like geniuses or like very creative, like smart people. And then these same people were like tested years later when they're like 18 and 19, 20 years old. And they lost like almost all their creativity and like creative thinking and stuff. And I think our society kind of pushes us into that. And especially our parents push us into this, like, you're not that special, even though you are in some cases. And I also think we do the opposite too, is like, I'm not a parent, but I think parents push people who are not very smart and say you're smart, and then they get the wrong idea. And then there's people who aren't pushed, but are smarter and a threat to our parents in a way. They're like, whoa, this person's smarter than I am. And I'm an adult. I'm their parent. So I have to assert authority. It's like, that's not really what you have to do. Thanks for being here, Barbara Surplus. It's a cool name, by the way. I like that last name. If that's really your last name. Yeah. There's not a lot of people thinking. Not a lot of people thinking in the Midwest. There's not a lot of opportunity there. Like if you come to the coasts, the reason why the coasts have more intelligent people out here is because there's more knowledge work. It's more appealing to live here. More stuff to do. It's funny how they belittle cities currently. They're all like, oh, you don't want to live in these like horrible places called cities. It's like, you're crazy. Like living in a city or close to other people where they want to all hang out and do stuff with you and stuff. I don't know. I like being around people, the energy and stuff I love the idea of like multicultural everything. I don't really understand people who are, I don't know. It's never made sense to me. I think our perfect society is a completely mixed society where people can't be prejudiced anymore because they're part of that culture too. That'd be pretty funny. Like you can't really be prejudiced if you're all a menagerie of other cultures and nationalities. I think that would be pretty funny to like, in a way that would like make it obsolete to think that way. Love to bud. The abuse made me angry and I rebelled. Yeah. I was the same way. I was like, you know what? I'm going to make your life harder because you're telling me to not think and stuff like that. I was like, hey, if you're going to like do this, let's go all the way, dude. So yeah, it was tough. Definitely tough to be the black sheep in a family, but you know, that's why I can like relate to it so well, is because I lived it. I was not a perfect person though. Far from it. They definitely taught us to punch down. And I can tell you, for a while when I was in my teenage years, I was taught to punch down to be safe. And that, yeah, it wasn't a good thing. Yeah, it took me a while. I was like 17, 18 years old. I was realizing, I'm like, hey, I shouldn't do the things they told me to do. Maybe I was younger. I used to, yeah, it was crazy. I'm left-handed as well. Ooh. I don't know what that means exactly, but I'm the only lefty in my family, that's for sure. My father was a lefty and I was a lefty. Oh, I am a lefty, not was. Lefties. I wonder how many lefties there are in this crowd. I never really thought to ask that. It is a unique thing. I guess the world's not made for lefties, so. Yeah, there you go. Yucky, South Carolina. I get it. I've lived in both too. I grew up in a small town, mainly a small town. And I could not wait to get out. And it's so much better to not be in a small town. Left-handed, look at this. We're raking in left-handers over here. That's pretty cool. So that's quite a few lefties here, surprisingly. I don't know what the stats are on left-handed people, though. I need to look that up. How many people are left-handed? I think it's like 25%, right? No, it's way less. Holy cow. 10 to 12% only. Holy cow. That's crazy. All right. So about 10% of you should be left-handed. I'm looking at the numbers across platform right now. All right. So we should have about 7 to 10 left-handed people here. We're not weird, yo. I disagree with that. They tried to train me out of being a left-handed person too, especially Catholic school. They're like, we need new scissors for you. Oh, that's rich. Dude, such a pleasure to have you in my chat, man. This guy's awesome. Oh, that's rich is such a good creator. You guys got to follow him if you haven't followed him, man. One of these days I'll make content like that cat does. It's definitely someone I look up to in the creator space. Dude, you're so good at it, man. I don't know. You were born with you were born to be, to do videos, dude. So there's a lot of lefties here. I'm surprised. So about 7 to 10 people out of everybody right now we should have lefties. So far we have about like 3 or 4. So we're over indexing people who answer at least. Oh, dude, you should be already full time, my man. I love that. I think you should be, man. I think you can be easily. Yeah. Oh, that's rich is awesome for sure. I agree. Yeah, man. We should talk offline, man. There might be some ways. I've definitely been in the space for a long time, so maybe I could give you a couple. Not that you probably need it from me, but I can give you tips on how to like monetize and stuff. Why do we do this though? Why do I love politics? It's like loving. I agree, man. I felt like I had to do it. I felt like I didn't really have a choice after Minneapolis. Once that happened, that was it, man. I couldn't, no matter what happened, couldn't stay quiet anymore, man. That was my dilemma. Sucked. Lefty, okay. So we're over indexing here. French is gotcha. Really? I did not know that. I only know a very small amount of Italian. Very small amount. Good times. All right. Let's take a look here. Any other things you guys want me to talk about before? It's been, what is it, 2 hours and 45 minutes. Give me some topics and I will chat about them. I'm Sicilian, learn to be nosy. Medio solo che mal accompagnato. That's really almost all the Italian I know. Better, and what that means is better alone than in bad company. And I could not agree with that statement more. Better alone than in bad company forever. Deanna DeLuna, what's up? You just got here, but you know, this is the perfect time for you to show up. Oh, nice, dude. Yeah, you were outside all day, man. That's awesome. Love it. Sit down, enjoy a beverage, unplug. That is a nice slice of heaven right there. Yes, it is, dude. It's so important. It's just so important, especially for creative people. Holy cow! It is one of the most important things ever, dude. Thank you for being here, man. That means a lot for you showing up. Appreciate your content, man. It's such good inspiration. It makes me want to be as good as you are. Do a video, throw the phone in the volcano. Yep, I got to do it, man. I was just outside a little earlier. Dude, I am not even close, bro, but I appreciate it, man. You saying that kind of thing's like unbelievably humbling, and thank you. Good looking out, man. My sleeve tattoo. Respect to tattoos, man. I could never get a tattoo. I don't have the commitment for that. I don't think I could do a tattoo. I would get bored of it or something. And you too, man. Thanks for being here, Rich. I appreciate it again, man. Big ups. We should do it live sometime whenever you got time. I know you probably busy. We should do it live sometime. Better pig than a fascist. Oh, I didn't know this term. That's an interesting one for me. I need to memorize that. Porco rosso. I didn't. That seems like an easy thing to memorize. I can't imagine. Is that what that really means? Are you trying to blow smoke over here? Let me look that up. I'm looking that up. Something you will never hear someone on the right say. I don't know. I don't see that. That does not mean that. Let's look. Red just means red pig. That's what I thought it meant. I was like, wait, am I not understanding Spanish? Because I used to be fluent in Spanish. And I just don't use it enough. Curious, how long until we... it's a good question, Ryan. General strike sounds better to me. Yeah, it's good. If you look things up in the right place, it's great. If you look, I don't think Porco Rosso actually means that. It just means red pig, which is what I thought it meant. But I'm like, wait, do I not know what that means? Mussolini. Yep. I was in that part of Italy where they caught him back in 2024. And they were like, hey, you want to go see where Mussolini got caught? I'm like, not really. I don't really care to see where the dude got removed. I was just like, no thanks. I'm going to pass on that. I'm not here for that. Ryan, it's probably a bad idea if that actually happens, if you really think about it. It's probably like a really bad idea. I think they're waiting till elections aren't upheld. And then I think that would be it. I don't know. But you can't really, what are you going to do? I'm not saying don't completely, but I'm also saying F-15s, F-16s, drones, pretty tough. I don't know, man. Not probably the stuff you should say on TikTok. Go on YouTube and say this. I can't really respond. You're saying things I can't really respond to on TikTok. But yeah, man, I don't know. It's a good question. I have a podcast out. You guys should listen to this. There's a book. Called They Thought They Were Free. And there's a chapter in it that speaks about that question you have. I'll put it in the chat real quick. I recorded me reading this section. Hold on one second. The chapter's called And Then It Was Too Late. I'll stick it in here. Let's see here. I'm going to put it in the TikTok. Just copy and paste that. I'll put it in this group chat also if you guys want to listen to it. Just copy and paste that. But if you ever want to hear it, it starts with like, it's not appealing the first little bit, first 5 or 6 minutes. But once you get 5 minutes, I think it's like 5 minutes and 21, 5 minutes and 20 seconds in, you'll know everybody's waiting for everybody else to do something. And this book is written about Germany in the 1930s, and everybody's like waiting for everything to happen or someone to stand up and do something. And no one ever does because they're waiting for everybody else. And that moment where everybody else is supposed to do something never comes. And then they're a fascist government and then they can't do anything. So that doesn't mean that's where we're at. Because most people, there are experts out there, even right now, that say like we still aren't in like a full fascism. But these experts are, in my opinion, by the way, grain of salt, like who cares, who am I, right? But in my opinion, they want democracy to be, they won't say this is fascism until everything's gone. And then they'll be like, oh yeah, this is fascism, like completely. They want to wait until democracy is completely stamped out until they say, yep, it was fascism. That's what they're waiting for. These literally, I've listened to one of the most world-renowned experts on fascism, and he was just like, oh, well, there's still some democracy happening. I'm like, and the guy goes, wait, are you going to wait until there is, yeah. He's like, yeah, I'm going to wait until there's literally nothing left of democracy to then call this fascism. It's like, how does that help us? He's like, oh, it doesn't. I'm a person who just does like, I'm a educator. I don't think past that. It's just not an exact definition. It's like, bro, we don't need an exact definition. We don't need this to all be gone for us to go, oh yeah, it's gone. We need to like do something before that happens. That's why you're an expert, is to tell us so that stuff doesn't happen. And this one guy was like, yeah, sorry, that's not what I do. It's like, well, then what would you say you do here? Like, if you're not going to help us, what are you going to do after that? Like, okay, are you just going to like bail? Like, do you think we're going to forget that you didn't really help us, Mr. Fascism expert? You're not going to wait. You're going to wait till everything's gone to then go, oh yeah, it's fascism. You're going to wait till, wait till that, like, I don't know. I don't know what I can say on here, but you're going to wait till like you're driving down the road and you're like metal's flying everywhere and be like, oh, I guess I have a flat tire. Yeah, I felt we had a flat tire like 10 miles back. Did you wait for the sparks? Like, really? You're going to wait for all that to happen? Okay, great. Glad you're here, dude. Go write another paper or something like that. It doesn't really help us. Directionally, like if you're talking like statistics, I hate saying this stuff because I don't even know what's going to get banned, but when you're talking statistics and like what's statistically relevant, you don't have to wait until something's exactly statistically relevant to take action. It just needs to be directionally relevant. And I just think it's hilarious that, not funny in a good way though, by the way, they won't directionally be like, yeah, I guess we are headed this way. If you're in an airplane and it's headed towards the ground at a rapid rate of speed and there's a certain height you cannot pull up from, you don't need to wait. Like, your pilot's not going to wait to start taking action until they're 2,000 feet off the ground and then, oh, okay, I guess we are crashing. I better pull up. No, they start going, oh, wait, the airplane's going down and we're at 35,000 feet. We got to figure out how to not crash at even 35,000 feet, dude. It's an airplane. Like, we're letting the airplane get to 2,000 feet before we do something. Not a good idea. Flying aircraft means you need time to work out the problem, which is why airplanes fly high, first for turbulence sake, of course, but also so when there's a problem, you have a lot of time to figure it out, or you have more time to figure it out because you're miles up. Gives you much time to react. Altitude is a pilot's friend. And if you are low, you don't have a lot of time to make decisions. So if experts are out here going, we're not exactly fascist yet. Okay, Bucky, we're getting there though. So we're pretty much there. I think we need to act accordingly, but I don't know when people actually do it. I don't know. It's such a strange dilemma. I agree, Ryan. It's a strange, I don't know if it's like people are scared or maybe that's what people are looking for. Like there's somebody like in public office that's looking for people to do something bad, which I think that is absolutely the case as well. It's a good question. I don't know the answer. But I am the person that's always, I am also, I don't think we should ever have to resort to stuff. I am very Martin Luther King when it comes to that. But there's a video on Instagram. I wish you guys could watch. I wish I had the link to it right now. There's a dude on there that makes a really good point about it. I wish I could say it because it's TikTok. Can't really say it. So July 4th is going to be a circus in DC. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that means, but yeah. Is there going to be a real circus there, or do you mean like it's just going to be crazy? Was that our 250 year anniversary? Is that the July 4th celebration? Is that what's going on in July in DC? Glad I'm this far away. I don't know the creator's name off the top of my head, Rosie the Riveter. By the way, I really think Really Rosie should be Rosie the Riveter. Such a better name, marketing wise. Let's take a look if I can find him. I don't remember his name. If I did, I'd just tell you his name. Shucks, right? I'm looking at my saved post because I saved his stuff, but I save a lot of stuff. So it might be buried under all. I mean, I save like 10 videos, 20 videos a day easily. Let's hope I can find him real quick. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Nope. I can't believe I can't find him really easily. Felt like I saved his content so many times. So many folders though too with like content. Fascinating. Did not see his stuff. I just saved one of his videos. Huh. I'll share it with you cats. Don't worry. Subscribe to my Substack. I'll send it out there, that dude's video. It was really well. He said it really well. I didn't even know you could say some of this stuff on Instagram. I was surprised at what he said. I was like, how is he not getting banned for saying what he just said? Because it was pretty like, I don't know how to explain it, but it wasn't something I would think survived on Instagram. He'd be the first person I would think would lose his account because of what's happening. And he's not. Somehow he seems immune. Don't ask me how, because a lot of people have lost their accounts recently, I think. I've heard. Wish I could find that cat's stuff, man. I'd be really happy if I could find it here. And this is one of my biggest issues, guys. That once I fixate on something, I just don't stop. It's good and bad. All right, I gotta stop. I'm gonna pull myself out. I gotta pull myself out of the matrix. Oh no, there was another. Oh, that stinks. White House. There was some kind of an alert. I have no idea. Gulf of Mexico. Whoop, whoop. It's always going to be Gulf of Mexico, let's be honest. Unless everybody got together and decided together to call it the Gulf of Americas, which again, I get the idea of why it would be called the Gulf of America, because it is the Gulf of the Americas, right? South America, Central America, North America. I get it. It makes sense. But you can't just decide for everybody. It's now called the Gulf of America because I said so. Talk about authoritarian parent over here because I said so. This is the most ridiculous statement as an adult to say, oh God, more of that. I thought it was like the safest city in America. What happened? Depressing. I'm still looking for this dude. If you guys aren't going to ask me anything, I'm just going to keep looking until I find him. There he is. I found him. Yes. Right when you thought you were going to give up. Let's see if this is the right one.
Agencies ever created by the United States government. News is pretty overwhelming these days, and it's difficult to know which.
I think I joined the wrong.
Did he do that?
News is pretty overwhelming these days, and it's difficult to know which side to take on certain issues, especially when things don't seem as cut and dry even as they did a year ago. We have the genocide in Gaza, but then
let's find the exact video I was referring to. Or I can just give you the creator's name, but I think I want to find the video because it's very specific. His video might have got removed though too.
fascism makes you stupid.
It does.
It is a tough week to be.
Can anybody hear my videos, or is it just me? I can hear them. Can you guys hear my videos when I listen to them? Yes? Okay, cool. I'll show you his link in a second. I just want to get the right video so you aren't like skirting around and like trying to figure out like which one's which.
You are scared right now and you're too afraid of what happens next to do anything about it. That is exactly where the fascists need you to be. See, fascists are not particularly popular.
They never have been. I agree. You know, I'm just going to give you guys this guy's profile, but I was really hoping to find this one.
You are not angry enough. We keep hearing this. I personally have said it. But the Epstein class is not.
Not it either. Shoot.
You are scared right now and you're too afraid of what happens next.
He's really good.
About it.
He's a really good creator. I highly recommend watching his videos. There's one in particular, Ryan, if you're still here, this guy's video is, there's one there that answers your question that I do not have the guts to make because I don't want to lose my account because I post a video. But Cake Guy Cameron, I'm not buying any of the DC today. I agree. Dude, it's hard. That's the thing about like fascism too. It's that they try to trick you into thinking and not believing anything. And when you don't believe anything, that's a problem, right? They make you second guess and question everything. And then all of a sudden there is no such thing as reality and facts. The problem is you have to choose one thing and believe it. You have to choose something and hold on to it, where you find something that's the closest thing to facts you can find that's not listed as Fox News or Newsmax or OAN or whatever. Those like crazy propaganda channels, which is crazy. Yeah, exactly, Fury. You fall for everything. You have to find something. You can't get Instagram? What does that mean? You don't have Instagram? I can't help you. You just find the creator. Like you can click on the link. You can still click on that link and see the creator, I think. You don't have to like download Instagram if you don't want to. And just find him on YouTube. I'm not going to go search for the cat. He's a good dude and all, but I can't really spend too much time. I did my job. I found him. Watch there's a video on there that answers Ryan's question though. Like, when do we do something? And it answers the question. The guy is very articulate. He's very clear. He's very good. Very intellectual, good dude. I would follow him if I were you. I think he's really good at making points. I did post the link, Rosie the Riveter. Let's see if I can pin it. I pinned it. I learned how to pin something. I'm a pinner now. I pin things. I'm a pinner. Anybody know that movie that I was just quoting? If you guys guess that movie, it's not, he didn't use the word pin, but I used something else. On Substack. I'm all about the truth, guys. All I do is MSNBC, which is, by the way, it's called MS Now, by the way. I hate that they changed it, but they did. Type it out for me. I pinned it, Rosie the Riveter. Can you see it pinned in the chat or no? I'll just DM it to you, dude. Bro, I'll just like DM it to you. Sent. I can't DM everybody. Kira Moon. I'm going to paste it back in the chat one more time. Oops. Check the chat link. I don't know if you can see it. Can you guys see that link? The number of conservatives that think Newsmax and Fox are sources. Yeah, but the problem is, like, they know it's not real news. David, they know it's not. They all know it's not. It's just news that helps them. So you guys can't see the link I just sent. Okay, interesting. I'm going to go join there's like a community on TikTok. It's like a post board or whatever it's called. What is that thing called? I don't even see it on desktop. I don't think it exists on desktop. Go join the little post board thing in my community at the top of my page. It's called Lucas Beans Board. It's a weird name. I'll just put it in there. All right, so follow this guy. Look at his videos. Make sure you give me a shout out and say, hey, so-and-so sent me here. But watch his videos, and he talks about what we should do in one of his videos. Like I said, I don't know why. I think it might have been removed, though. That's my only problem, is that it might have only been live for a little bit. And it got removed because it was saying things that were like, what? Can you say that? All right, I'm putting it in my board. Sent. Join the board. All right. Let's see what we got. New York Post is not a news source. It is a right-leaning, crazy town news source that is misleading headlines all the time. It's just not, I wouldn't listen to it. Here's the thing, like real news sources go off of like facts. So CNN currently goes off of facts, and they have journalistic integrity, things like that. Soon they won't, eventually, because they're owned now by the Ellisons, right? But MS Now goes off of facts. Yes, they talk opinion-wise as well, but they go off of facts. I mean, I don't know. You can't compare things that are not news to news. CNN is actually news currently. It just might not be eventually news anymore because it's owned by the right-wing stuff. I haven't seen news on CNN that I am clearly going, hey, that's not right. What is up? Answer me now. Okay. Not much. What's going on with you? Oh, that's funny. There's a shirt on the internet that was funny. It's like, it just reminded me of that shirt that I'm not going to buy. New York Post is trash. I agree. It's just as bad as, like, I know a person that gets all their news from Breitbart, and they're like, yeah, I'm really informed. I get all my news from Breitbart. I'm like, do you realize what you just said? Brains are a weird thing. Brains work backwards. Brains work backward. I mean, I think one of my videos, one of my most recent videos talks about this, where it's like brains have a blind spot. And what you already believe, you look for the, I can't relate to this. P.S. My brain doesn't work this way. My brain looks for truth. I am a default to truth. I don't care what I believe or think. I always just look for the truth. It is what it is. Probably bad, but it is what it is. Oh, Summer Bellamy, do you really want me to kick you for life? Looks like you do. I would be happy to help you out. You can't even spell your. You realize I need to make fun of you for like about 2 seconds here. You said your, and it should be your. That makes me sad that you don't know how to use the word your and your. Like, it's not hard to do, but you clearly have not learned how to use. Yeah, exactly. So that makes me sad to know that Summer Bellamy is got the education level of not even, I mean, maybe a third grader. Makes me sad to know that you don't even know how to use those words. But I'm not surprised. Oh, look, you learned to take the R off. Look at you. You're growing up. We're so fast in front of our eyes. I'm so proud of you. I really wish I could have you up on so I can like have a little chat with you. Do I sound like your daddy now? You going to the rodeo later or what? Anyway, a lot of people like Summer Bellamy. They don't really have the ability. They have this like blind spot. So when they think, they block things out. Like literally, it's like a blind spot in like your visual perception. Where you know how everybody has a blind spot. If you get to a certain place, you can't really see. That same thing happens with their brains. They can't see certain things. When they read, you can literally show them a piece of paper in front of you that says, if you read this document, you are not smart. And they won't even see that. And they'll just see the thing that they want to see and then go, see, I was right. But wait, what about this thing that's right here saying this is fake? I am joking with you. This is fake. They would just not see that and be like, no, this just proves my point. And it's like a blind spot. It's something I can't relate to it, but oh, Summer, you really let me down. You're like the most ironic person, and you don't even realize it. I love when like someone comes onto it, like a chat or like leaves a comment that's so unbelievably ironic, and they don't realize they're literally owning themselves and making themselves look like an idiot. It's so funny. This makes me laugh. I'm going to keep you on, Summer, because you make everybody look good. Mediocreness is your middle name. Yeah, I love Hawk's. I love Hawk's teeth one. It's really funny. He's a funny dude. I like those cats, man. Hawk and Falcon are good peeps. Big fan. Rosie the Riveter. Have you changed your name yet, really, Rosie? I think you should switch it. I don't know what you think you're going to gain by childlike insults. What, who do you think? I don't understand the concept of like people like you. You know, when you were a kid, that might have like hurt people, but it just doesn't. It's so weird that it's like you were literally, to me, probably to everybody else, it's fascinating to like watch something that's curious, a weird, curious thing. And you're just like, what is that? What is that thing exactly? Very interesting. But I mean, if you learn how to speak English first would be great when you're like trying to insult somebody. It would really be useful to do that. Yeah, there are, but you know what? You got to remember, like, Summer Bellamy's probably like a fuck. I almost swore, but it's probably like a 12-year-old on like their father's account or something like that, or you know, on their iPad at home in like Arkansas. Let's get him. So, who really knows? But what? So good, so does the what? Who is this Hook 180 dude? Yeah, me too. But you know what the thing is? Like, these people are such cowards that they would never show who they are. You can't hold people like that accountable because they don't even know what that means. They could only do it from the shadows. So it's makes me laugh. Yeah, sorry, Hook 180. I saw a comment. I didn't realize you were just being nice. My bad. Yes, you seem like a friendly person. Are you not a friendly person? You've been in the chat for pretty much the whole time. It's been pretty cool. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. I think I just found Summer Bellamy on the internet. It was not that hard to find you, Summer Bellamy. Oh, Summer Bellamy. Do you know the internet, how the internet works? I'm pretty sure this is you. Why am I not surprised? This is sad. You would not be surprised at what Summer Bellamy looks like. It's exactly what you think it is. I'm going to show you real quick. You ready? This is what she looks like. It's always like, it's always the look. It's what they always have, man. They're always just like, what? Too funny. Oh my God, you're literally a walking cliche. You're like Nick Cliche, I would say. And that's okay. Maybe in May. I can fix you, Summer. All right, that was funny. That was a win. That was for the win right there. I can fix you. Oh, good times. All right. I got to make it. I have another 10 minutes I'm going to do, and then I am going to be off. So you guys got me for another 10 minutes. If you want to ask me anything or anything, just let me know. Besides Summer Bellamy. Somewhere here, somewhere there. That's funny. That's funny. That's funny, you wee lass. Love it. Summer Bellamy's right now like hiding her profile. She's like, find me. Then realize like the internet works the way it works. You just like search somebody's name. I would, you know, I deserve a Saturday evening. I agree, but you know what I'm going to do right after this, Tamsin? It's like I'm going to make videos. I would love to have at least one whole day off. That would be really cool. But we have to do something. So this is what I do. Cake Guy Cameron's pretty awesome, man. I'm glad you are part of this community, dude. You guys are good people. Hook 180 also, good people. Mermaid from Gulf of Mexico, good people. Summer Bellamy, questionable. And of course, Health and Happiness and Rosie the Riveter. Duh. Your take on the movie 3 Days of the Condor. You know what? I have to look that up and see. I've seen like every movie like 100 times, I feel like. But that movie sounds super familiar, but let me look it up and see if I have actually, if I remember it. 3 Days of the Condor. I have not. I don't think I've seen this movie all the way through. It was like made before I was aware of movies. So I got to watch it though. If you're telling me it's good, who says 3 Days of Condor is good and worth watching? I'm going to hold you. I have a very high standards for movies. So if it's good, I'll watch it. But if it's, you better make sure you tell me a good movie. I'm going to say, I can't listen to you anymore. You have bad taste. Just saying. Okay, so it is good enough where it's one of your favorite movies. Okay. Well, then it's worth watching. Sorry about that. I'm just someone was at my door. Which movie is that, Melanie? I love that movie about the secret branch. Sneakers, are you talking about? The movie Sneakers with Robert Redford? Is that the movie you're talking about? Talk to me, Goose. Is that the movie you were talking about, Melanie? Don't stop texting now. Yeah, Robert Redford. Well, I think Sneakers was out in the 80s. So I saw it as a very young kid in like the 90s. Project Hail Mary, I don't remember that one either. Oh, wait. 3 Days of the Condor. Okay. Yeah, I'll watch it. That I don't think it was it that movie? I thought Sneakers was about the secret branch of the CIA. I guess he did a lot of spy movies, huh? I didn't know Robert Redford did so many spy movies. He did like one with Brad Pitt also. I can't remember the name of it right now, but he did Sneakers, which was a CIA-ish type movie. He did he did a bunch of like he did that like prison movie where he like did a revolt in prison because he was like falsely accused, and then it is okay. It is about the secret CIA. Okay, I did not know that. I gotta watch it. But there's a movie, if you guys haven't seen Sneakers with Robert Redford, that is a good movie. I've always loved it, at least since I was a kid. I'll watch it. Spy Game. That's it. Spy Game. Yep. 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 That's it. Yep. Yep. Robert Redford was a good actor. Very like, I don't know how to explain it, but he just had like class. I don't know anything about what happened at the White House, but I don't. Unfortunately, it's really hard to. It's really hard to believe. Let's see. Just strange. Like they all rushed back. Do you guys remember the news? Like they all rushed back to the White House, and now all of a sudden something like this is happening. All of a sudden, I think it's kind of that kind of makes me feel. Oh, they're all rushing back. You're not what not where's close to Orange County. I don't are yeah. I mean I'm close and I'm not that close to it. I'm more than an hour away from there. Orange County is it's surprising how big California is. Let's see here. Secret Service says officer okay, that's not good. Oh, no. Okay. That's crazy. Let's see here. You know, I just find it a little suspect because people are like rushing back. I remember like something was going on. They're all like, oh, something, you know, these people are canceled their trips or rushed back to this or X, Y, and Z. And all of a sudden now it's like on lockdown. Like, it's just hard to believe. Handmaid's Tale. Yep. That's not a good one. It's very dystopian world. I got to see 3 Days of the Condor. Spies Like Us, great movie. Not accurate, but hilarious. Are you kidding me? I've seen that movie like 100 times also. Um, I don't know if you guys know this. If you guys watched my video about the cults, the Jim Jones cult versus the MAGA cult, but Jim Jones faked attempts at himself all the time to get his followers to be more united under like a similar cause. Because when you're like at war, you bond over things together when you're all together doing it, and they all feel like they have like a part in some of it. And that's what these cult leaders do. They use fake attempts to galvanize people's beliefs around like what they're doing. Yeah, a mutual enemy, but also just like you can't, when you, again, there's like a bond that's formed when you're in a war, that you're on the battlefield with somebody else and you make these, like, they have your back and you have theirs. Like that feeling, I've never experienced it because I've never been at war myself, but I know playing sports and all that. I've always played team sports. I've never been like an individual, like, you know, played individual sports really. It's always been team. And you always are like, when you're out on the, like doing stuff together, it's more meaningful. You have connections for a long time. So it's, I can just imagine when you're risking your life with somebody, it's probably a, you know, it feels like such a big or deeper connection that you owe that sense of, what is it? Reciprocity to that other person for life, right? It's the law of reciprocity. Like a lot of people take advantage of in this world, where like coach people, like coaches, like I'm not a coach, but I know coaches and like life coaches and stuff. They'll do something for you for free or helpful. And then they'll be like, oh yeah, now give me $10,000 for your next session. They feel it's a way of like reciprocity, like getting somebody hooked into something. And you as a human have a thing inside your brain that makes you want to be reciprocal to people. Like, oh, they help me, I want to help them. It's just something innate, kind of creates where like it's comes back from like hunter-gatherer times. Like it's very, very archaic. We want to help other people. And that's what combat or war does to you on an extreme level. Like, have you guys ever seen the movie Kingdom of Heaven? There's a really good scene in that movie. It's a long movie. It's a little boring. But it's, when you watch it a few times, you really get the message from this movie. It's so good. Like a little cheesy here and there, but then once you get it. You're like, wow, this is a really good movie. They basically knight somebody, and this guy's like a lord or something like that in Jerusalem. And he's like, I'm knighting you and you're going to become a knight for me. And then he slaps them across the face. And it's, I don't like the idea of it, but it helps you remember, because you're not being slapped across the face all the time. It reminds you of what he just did for you. Like, he made you a knight. You now have to remember this and the rules that go with it and the reciprocity you now owe the person who made you a knight. And that slap across the face, which doesn't happen all the time, you remember, because it's, yeah, but it's like not a really bad backhand. It's just like a slap. And here's so you never forget it, because that is the extreme nature of like going through something like that. Obviously, war is way worse, right? So it's not just a slap, but it helps you be reminded. It's a Pavlovian, like kind of a response. So that's what that camaraderie does. Anyway, it's been more than 10 minutes. I'm a huge fan of you guys. I'm going to go, but have a good rest of your evenings and or, I don't know, early evening, night, whatever it is for you. And I will be back on again. Not today, but maybe this weekend, because it is kind of a little long weekend. You guys rock. Thank you, Hook 180. I hope to see you next time. You know, I'm going to be back, maybe Health and Happiness. I'll be in your DMs because you rock. Rosie, of course, will be in the DMs as well. It was great talking with you guys. Great chatting with you guys. You guys are awesome. Keep coming back. And I'll keep doing this. They're going to convince me to keep coming back. Thanks, Mermaid. I appreciate it. You guys have a good night. Bye.